Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Pirates, My Talent Hangs Everything. Chapter 1. What is this place? In a dim place, a scrawny, dirty little boy opened his eyes in a daze, and beside him, there were several children who were like him. Why it's shaking, it's hardly an earthquake, and why it's smelly. After a while, the little boy finally came to a sense of relief, opened his eyes, and saw the surrounding environment clearly. What caught my eye was an iron fence in front of him, as if he were in a prison, and there were other little boys and little girls around him, sitting on the ground holding their legs, eyes full of despair. Seeing this kind of look, there was a sting in his heart, because it shouldn't be a look that a child can have. Where is this place? What have I experienced? Suddenly, there was a sudden violent pain in the little boy's head, and a memory of him and not belong to him suddenly came into his mind. What? The intense pain made him yell out. Hey, you fellow, calm me down. I haven't enough lessons for you just now, have you? Okay, don't be angry. These little guys are celestial dragons' goods. If you annoy the big guys, we won't have enough heads. Just listen to another voice comforting him. Hearing the little boy's painful cry, a vicious voice suddenly came from outside the cage. Upon hearing this sound, the other children in the cage could not help but tremble, even though they didn't say anything, but it also conveyed a feeling of fear to the outside world. Soon, the pain in his mind disappeared, but he also just heard the conversation between the two men. That's it, did I cross this? I didn't expect this kind of nonsense happen to me, and it is still extremely dangerous in the One Piece world, but we turned out to be celestial dragons' goods. It is hard to say that this is a slave ferry. Thinking of this, his face couldn't help showing some helpless look, because this opening is really too bad for the protagonist of the novel, and becoming a slave of celestial dragons, there is nothing worse than this. His body's name is Wrist. He is 7 years old this year. It turned out to be just an ordinary village kid. It's just that a group of vicious pirates suddenly came to their ordinary village. All the adults were killed. Only their group of children were arrested. It seemed that they were going to be sold as slaves. And Ryester was the most disobedient of this group of children, who had resisted all the time. Finally, the group of pirates could not bear it, so they took Ryester out alone and beat him violently until he was dying, before putting Ryester back in the cage. However, because Lister was seriously injured, no one had taken care of it yet, so he was given a chance. As for how he died in his previous life, he didn't remember at all. No, can't I just sit still? If I really become a slave to celestial dragons, it's really better to die than life. Thinking of this, Lister had a chill. From the few scenes seen in the previous life animation, it can be seen that becoming a slave to celestial dragons can't even compare with rubbish. Thinking of this, Wrist intends to seek help from other people. Even if he sneaks off the boat and jumps into the sea, he may gain a glimmer of hope. He doesn't want to live a dark life when he arrives in this world. But when he saw the eyes of a few other people, the hope in his heart was a little shattered in an instant. Because what was revealed from their eyes was confession, or they didn't dare to resist at all. Are you really not going to fight back? At this time, Wrist asked without giving up, because in the memory that just rushed into his mind, he found that the original body had been agitated once, but there was no effect at all. Give up, Lister, even our parents are dead in their hands, what can we do here? A little chubby said. Is it true that there is nothing you can do about it? Wrist's heart was extremely unwilling. Then at this moment, an explosion sounded suddenly, and the whole ship shook because of the explosion. And not far from the pirate ship, at this time a warship was slowly driving towards the pirate ship, but unlike ordinary warships, there was a dog's head on this warship. Garp Vice Admiral, a pirate ship was found ahead. Yes, the man who led this warship was the hero of Marine, Garp Vice Admiral. Oh, the pirate ship, I didn't expect to have such fun when I was about to arrive at the headquarters, and give me the cannonballs. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. I saw that the Marines on the warship moved very swiftly. Boxes of shells lined up directly next to Garp Vice Admiral. Obviously, this was not the first time they had done this. They were very skilled. Fist bone meteorite. Garp yelled directly, then directly picked up a cannonball and threw it at the pirate ship in the distance. The speed was faster than the cannonball fired by the main gun, and the power was much stronger. Although it did not directly hit the pirate ship, an explosion occurred around the pirate ship. The powerful impact directly caused the pirate ship to passively shift more than 10 meters away. And Wrist, who was in the cage, also fell in one direction. Fat, Send, what happened? The sound of the shells suddenly made some pirates so scared that they couldn't even speak clearly. It was obvious that they hadn't seen the pirates. Where did the shells come from? Observing hand, find me where the enemy is. At this time, on the board of the ship, a rather wretched-looking pirate said angrily. He was the captain of the pirate ship, Brady, a vicious pirate, not very powerful, but he could do evil things. A lot. Soon, another artillery shell flew suddenly, and it exploded in the sea around their ship. Wrist in the cabin prison and the others rolled in one direction again. What happened? Could it be an attack? Is it marine or a pirate? At this time, Ryester's brain was calmly analyzing that if it were marine, they would be saved, but if it were a pirate, they might have entered another wolf den. First hope it's marine, Ryester prayed inwardly. At this time, the warship finally broke into the vision of the pirate ship. Captain, at 3 o'clock, I found a warship. It turned out to be marine, but so far away, how did they hit us? Brady was angry and puzzled. They had won a warship, but the artillery on the warship definitely didn't have such a long range. Did you miss it? In that case, the fist-bone meteor group. In the eyes of the observer on the pirate ship, he saw a half-white marine who was quickly throwing at them with cannonballs in both hands. Ship, Captain, there is a marine throwing cannonballs with his hands on the opposite side. What? Before Brady had to take a closer look through the telescope, the explosion sounded again, but this time it was not just one sound, but several times. Garp Vice Admiral, be careful, there are still slaves on the other side's ship. At this time, Garp's adjutant reminded that his observation hockey had already understood all the conditions of the pirate ship mountain. The old man knows, otherwise the first shell would directly hit the opponent's ship. Do you think the old man is inaccurate with the front sight? Actually, the old man did it on purpose. Garp has found a perfect excuse for his front sight. This constant shelling not only suffered the pirates on the boat, but also the Ryesters in the prison, because they turned left and right from time to time. Either you were pressing on me or I was pressing on you. The voice came from some people's mouths continuously. Close to that pirate ship. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Since there are slaves on the ship, it cannot be attacked with cannonballs. At this time, Garp felt a little lucky in his heart. Fortunately, those shells did not hit the pirate ship. However, although the shells did not hit the pirate ship head-on, the aftermath of the explosion had caused damage to the pirate ship, and it was almost impossible to drive normally. Captain, that warship is slowly approaching us. The observer shouted. It's just right, I want to see, which marine is so courageous and dared to shoot us, it is really impatient to live. Brady said fiercely, although his strength is not strong, but that is only compared to Pervert in the same period. He is also considered this year's supernova, a guy with a bounty of more than 100 million yuan, and it is not the average marine that can shoot him. But when Brady saw the people standing on the opposite warship clearly, the arrogant arrogance disappeared instantly, as if a basin of cold water was poured directly on his head. Marine Ying, hero, Garp. Obviously, he recognized Garp, and he was stubborn. After all, Garp is still very famous now. The man who has driven the legendary pirate Roger pirate group into desperate situations several times. It can be seen that Roger has not yet become the pirate king. Is that you, dare to attack our warship just now? At this moment, Garp yelled viciously. Hearing this, everyone on the pirate ship looked dumbfounded. When did they start their hands just now? They were obviously the ones who had been beaten all the time. No, it's not us, Garp Vice Admiral, you found the wrong person. Brady squatted. Oh, are you pirates then? Garp asked them again. No, we are not pirates. They answered this sentence quite neatly. After all, life saving is important. Who dares to say that he is a pirate in front of the marine hero? Isn't that too long for his life? Then what's the pirate flag on your ship? Garp glared suddenly. He felt that these people were treating them as fools, and he thought he was so foolish. This is the ship we stole. Yes, we stole it. As if to make himself believe this reason, Brady emphasized it himself. That's the case, then you are thieves. Go, get me arrested these thieves. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. The Marines on the warship immediately stepped onto the other's pirate ship. Wrong, Garp Vice Admiral, we are not thieves, we are just ordinary fishermen. Brady burst into tears and burst into tears. It was really sad for those who heard it, and tears for those who saw it. As for the resistance, what a joke, the opponent is the hero Garp, and resistance will only speed up their death. If you have any wrongs, go to Impel Down and explain it yourself. I am only responsible for arresting people, not for interrogating people. Garp scratched his nostrils and said irresponsibly. At this moment, the expression on the opponent's face was red and white, as if he was struggling. Garp Vice Admiral, this is the slave of celestial dragons. I don't think even you want to offend celestial dragons. Hearing this, all marine actions stopped. To put it bluntly, their marine was for celestial dragons. What did he say just now? At this moment, Garp said again. Reporting to Vice Admiral, he said nothing. Garp's Lieutenant Bogart replied. Okay, just grab them all. Garp, celestial dragons won't let you go, won't let you go. As Brady's voice faded away, Garp touched his forehead with a headache. Unexpectedly, the celestial dragons gang was involved. It seems that I will be trained again when I go back. Garp's tone was full of helplessness. Rist, who was in the prison on the pirate boat, also heard the noise outside disappear, and then the footsteps of a group of people were slowly approaching. With a serious face on his face, Rist looked at the stairway seriously, wanting to see who was walking down this time. When he saw a group of people in white uniforms appear, Lister breathed a sigh of relief. It was Marine. Luck is really good. When the whole person relaxed, Lister felt a trace of fatigue. After all, his spirit had always been in a state of high tension and concentration during this period. This time, when he relaxed, he would inevitably be a little tired. I saw that a Marine directly took out his saber and cut the chains of the prison. You little guys come out with us, you are free. When the Marine said the word freedom, the faces of the rest of the children were filled with happiness and hope. But Rist was not happy for them, because all their family members were dead, and even if they were dealt out, they would just become an orphan. A group of people came to the deck of the pirate ship with a crackle. After seeing so many people in Marine uniforms, Rist suddenly felt like a world away. When he saw Garp Vice Admiral standing on the opposite warship, the expression on Ryester's face turned from unbelievable at first to very excited at the end. If it were other Marines, at Ryester's age, he really didn't think that Marine could let him join Marine. But Garp is different. People all over the world know the inconsistency of Garp Vice Admiral. That's right, when he was rescued by Marine, Lister decided to become a Marine. In this world where civilians are full of dangers, when Marine is at least able to learn some self-protection skills. As for why he is not a pirate, just kidding, he may not even know how he died when he is a pirate at his current age, and so far, his cheat hasn't appeared yet, and he doesn't know if he has cheat. Hey, what do you think of the old man in this way? Although the old man also knows that he is handsome, but the old man has no interest in a kid like you. Rist's naked, fiery gaze naturally caught Garp's attention. But when he heard Garp's shameless words, Ryester was still full of black lines. No, Garp Vice Admiral, I just saw the idol in my mind and I was so excited. Garp Vice Admiral, please let me join Marine. I also want to be a Marine hero like you. Quote. When Lister said this, the scene suddenly fell into silence. Even Ryester felt embarrassed after saying this by himself, but there was no way. This was the only way he could think of now. Everyone is waiting for the answer from Garp, to see if Garp Vice Admiral will let this kid join Marine. No, I refuse. Garp Vice Admiral still kept the action of picking his nostrils just now, and said indifferently. Garp Vice Admiral, I really want to join Marine, please give me a chance. Rist bent down. Seeing this scene, Garp's eyes also changed a little. He didn't expect this kid to join Marine with such a firm determination. Although the compliment to worship himself just now was false, it was true to join Marine. When Ryester said that he was his idol, Garp knew it was a lie. After all, even if Ryester behaved sincerely, he had not learned acting skills, so he was seen through by Garp, who is experienced in knowing people. Now, although he usually looks careless and incongruous, he is not stupid. Well, since you want to join Marine so much, then I will give you a chance. As for whether you can grasp this opportunity, it's up to you. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Wrist said with a look of excitement. This excitement is really excitement, not pretending. Bogart, go up and test this kid. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Bogart is the adjutant of Garp Vice Admiral, and he is very powerful. Little devil, as long as you can beat Bogart, no, as long as you can insist on 10 moves in Bogart's hands, I will make an exception and allow you to join Marine, how about it? Good, Ryester replied with a serious face, because this was his only way now. Go, give this kid a sword. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. After that, a Marine handed his saber to Lister, but I have to say that this saber is really heavy for a 7-year-old child. After all, Lister did not exercise much before. It's just catching fish. At this time, the battlefield for the two was on the pirate ship, and all the others had been transferred to the warship. Boy, I won't be merciful just because you are a child. After speaking, Bogart drew out his saber, his tone was flat, and his body exuded a sharp aura. If Wrist guessed correctly, this breath should be sword intent. Joining Marine is a very dangerous thing. You may be killed in battle with the pirates at any time, so for the sake of your future safety, I will definitely go all out this time. Even if you don't join Marine, even if you become an ordinary civilian, won't you be killed at any time in this chaotic era? Hearing this, Bogart was slightly taken aback. He didn't expect Lister to say such a thing. Even Garp Vice Admiral was slightly shocked when he heard Lister say this. This kid's way of thinking is simply not something a 7-year-old child can think of. Garp thought inwardly, so first must join Marine anyway. Only in this way can I be able to protect myself and protect others. Protect others? In that case, pull out the knife in your hand and let me see your enlightenment. Needless to say, I will do the same. After finishing speaking, there was also an aura on Ryester who had pulled out the knife. This aura was very similar to the aura exuded by Bogart, but no one noticed it except Garp and Bogart. Have you practiced swordsmanship before? No, this is the first time I have taken a knife. Well, it seems that you are really a rare good seed, but the assessment is the assessment, and I will not be merciful to your subordinates. Certainly. Afterwards, Wrist directly rushed towards Bogart with the knife, and then slashed, but Bogart easily defended it. Sure enough, haven't you learned swordsmanship? This hacking by Lister showed that Lister had not lied just now. But the first time I took a knife, I had a sword intent. I really am a genius. Although Wrist's swordsmanship has no moves, every time he swipes it will be accompanied by sword intent. You can't break my defense with an attack like this. Afterwards, Bogart caught Lister's flaw and picked up. Lister was directly picked up by the force and withdrew a few steps back, and the knife in his hand almost broke away. Luxon's sword, Thorn. After speaking, Bogart squatted, holding the sword in both hands, and pointed at Wrist in a strange posture. Then, Ryester only felt a stream of light flying by his side, even his hair had been blown up, and there was a tingling sensation on his face, and he subconsciously touched it. The warm liquid came out. Give up, kid, if the sword was your throat just now, you would be dead. Bogart's voice rang behind Lister. One trick, there are 9 tricks. Hearing what Ryester said, Bogart was stunned for a moment. I will be able to join Marine by taking 9 more strokes from you. Good boy. Bogart smiled helplessly. Since you insist on doing this, then go ahead. Good. Afterwards, Wrist, facing Bogart, also assumed the posture of Bogart just now. This time not only Bogart and Garp were stunned, even the other Marines who were watching the battle were stunned. Although they could not feel the subtle sword intent emanating from Wrist's body, the battle was on the bright side. They can also see clearly. Isn't it? What are you kidding? Garp and Bogart had an incredible idea in their hearts at the same time. Luxon's sword, Thorn. After speaking, List also rushed over quickly. Although this speed was incomparable to what Bogart had just used, it was indeed a move. Bogart was a little stunned at this moment, until the sword in Ryester's hand pierced his cheek. The pain relieved him. Boy, why would you use my moves? Bogart said seriously. I'll just see you use it again. I think it's easy, so I want to try it. I didn't expect it to be used. Hearing this, the corners of Bogart's mouth twitched a few times. The ghost knew how long it took him to learn this sword technique, but now he was used by a little ghost at a glance. It also made people not live. It's quite simple. It will be done after reading it again. Next, let me see if you can learn a few tricks. Come on, Adjutant, Wrist said to Bogart. Although his eyes were full of exhaustion, he still persisted. Luxon's sword, 3-stage cut. After that, Wrist felt phantoms appearing in front of him, and 3 sword marks appeared on the clothes he was wearing. If you can use this sword, then I will make an exception and let Garp Vice Admiral add you to Marine. Good. Hearing Bogart's words, Lister's face showed a light of hope. Through him just now, he knew that it was almost impossible to insist on 10 tricks in Bogart's hands. Regarding this, Garp didn't say anything. If Ryester can really use a 3-stage cut, then why not let this talented boy join Marine? Maybe he will become the youngest Marine Admiral ever. Afterwards, Wrist closed his eyes, and Bogart's 3-stage slash that Bogart had just performed was formed in his mind in an instant, and then the sword intent emanating from his body became stronger. Luxon's sword, 3-stage cut. I saw that Wrist's figure was fast in an instant, shuttled back and forth by Bogart's side 3 times, and 3 swords quickly appeared on Bogart's military uniform. Afterwards, the audience was silent. Even if they were stupid, they knew what it meant. Garp Vice Admiral, Ryester has the qualifications and strength to join Marine. After that, Wrist said to Garp with a serious face. Good. Such a genius. Now Garp can't wait to get him into Marine. If he joins the pirates at last, it will definitely be a huge harm to the world government. Hearing the answer he wanted to hear, Ryester finally showed a satisfied smile on his face, and then he felt the darkness in front of him, and fainted gloriously. Fortunately, Bogart's reaction was also very quick. When Lister was about to fall to the ground, he used the shave in Marine 6 styles to come to him and supported him. After checking his body, Bogart could obviously feel relieved. Reporting to Garp Vice Admiral, there is nothing serious. It's just that I fainted because of the loss of strength. It should be caused by the Luxon sword move just now. Well, take him onto the warship, and then find a military doctor to show him. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Then Garp went back to his office, took out the phone worm and showed off to Sengoku. Such a good seed was picked up by himself. Although this child has nothing to do with him, he waited for Lister's strength to change. When he is very strong, Garp will also feel very proud. After all, he dug up this rough jade. After using the Luxon sword and stabbing, Wrist was a bit unable to hold on. After all, that sword move completely exceeded his current physique. After using it, his body was already painful and dizzy. But it was that belief that kept Wrist on and made him use the Luxon sword again, 3-stage cut. After Garp said he could join Marine, Ryester couldn't hold on anymore and fainted. Those other children who were rescued by Marine were sent to the orphanage of Naval Headquarters. This orphanage was built by Naval Headquarters. Unlike other orphanages, the orphans here have to receive some training from an early age. When you grow up, you can decide whether to join Marine or leave directly. And Ryester finally woke up after about a day of sleep, glanced at the roof in a daze, and confirmed that what he had just experienced was not a dream, but a real journey. He glanced at the needle in his hand, and it seemed that he was giving him a nutrient solution. You're awake. At this moment, Lister noticed the adjutant who had been sitting across from him, Bogart. Adjutant, why are you here? Wrist asked in surprise. If he didn't guess wrong, the adjutant should have been here for a while since he fainted. It's nothing, just want to see how the structure between you and ordinary people is different. This sentence of Bogart directly made Wrist not know how to answer. Adjutant, I'm just an ordinary person. No, you are definitely not an ordinary person. Bogart definitely shook his head. It is impossible for ordinary people to easily learn what they have seen, especially the most technical sword skills. Ha, maybe it's because of my talent. Wrist now knows what his cheat is, it should be the enchanting talent. He didn't know why he could learn Bogart's sword skills at a glance, but he felt that when Bogart used swordsmanship, there was an idea in his mind that you could use it. Well, you are really an evildoer. But I prefer the term genius to the evildoer. Okay, come out with me, Naval Headquarters has arrived, Marshal Sora and Sengoku Admiral want to see you. Marshal and Admiral want to see me. Well, get ready, most people won't see Admiral and the Marshal. Afterwards, Wrist discovered that there was a Marine uniform on the bow, which seemed to be prepared for him. After putting on the new clothes, Wrist felt a lot more energetic in an instant. At this moment, Wrist heard neat footsteps coming from outside the door, as if these people were being military training. When Ryester opened the door of the infirmary, he immediately saw a big iron door that plunged into the sky. From his point of view, it was impossible to see how high the door was. This is the Gate of Justice. When this door is opened, Naval Headquarters is inside. Bogart stood beside him and explained to List. Then, in the eyes of Ryester's serious attention, a slight light appeared in the middle of the Gate of Justice, and then the light that passed through became bigger and bigger, and soon it flowed out a width that a warship can pass. After arriving at Naval Headquarters, Lister found that the attitude of all Marines on this warship had changed, becoming more serious and serious, except of course, Garp Vice Admiral. He didn't seem to know that he had arrived at Naval Headquarters. He stayed in his room and didn't come out. Wrist could still vaguely hear the sound coming from the room. The record is broken, and the record is about to be broken. Although his speech was unclear and his words were unclear, Wrist could hear these words. When the warship passed through the Gate of Justice, Wrist felt a different feeling instantly. A solemn feeling, because here is the most powerful armed force in the world. I can see that dozens of warships are parked in the harbor, and countless turrets are all aimed at the Gate of Justice, as if as long as the enemy invades, the enemy will be able to blast even the scum. Although he has watched it in anime before, there are totally two feelings compared to watching it now. Seeing Ryester, who was surprised to hear from ear to ear, Bogart nodded in satisfaction. Is this what Naval Headquarters should look like? You know, when he came to Naval Headquarters for the first time, Lister looks almost the same. Even if it's a genius, it's not that I'm calm now. Bogart thought proudly. Marine soldiers on patrol can be seen everywhere, and everyone's face is full of serious expressions. Boy, welcome to Naval Headquarters. Afterwards, Bogart went to find Garp Vice Admiral, and in the voice of Garp Vice Admiral's complaint, he had to walk out of his room with a gloomy face. Little devil, I blame you. If it weren't for you, I would have broken my donut record. Garp walked up to Lister and said with a grudge on his face. I'm really sorry, Garp Vice Admiral, but I believe, Garp Vice Admiral, you will be able to break the record next time. Forget it, you kid, go with me first. The old man Sora and the old man Sengoku want to see you. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. If ordinary people really can't arouse the interest of Marshal Sengoku and Sengoku Admiral, but Garp praised Wrist in the phone bug, saying that he is a monster that 10,000 years can't produce, and that he can learn everything as soon as he learns it. Will the wizards? This description greatly aroused the interest of two people. Although they also knew that Garp's words must be exaggerated, the person who can be described by Garp is definitely not bad. And although there are already 3 monsters in Marine now, if nothing else, it will definitely be a proper admiral in the future. But apart from those 3 people, Marine has no younger generation that can take a shot. On the pirate side, the strong came out, Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, and other strong, as well as Whitebeard, Golden Lion, and Roger, who were in the prime of life, all of whom were not easy to provoke. When Garp Vice Admiral stepped off the warship, everyone would give Garp Vice Admiral a respectful look, but Garp seemed to dislike being stared at with this kind of eyes, so he walked very fast. Soon, the 2 of them arrived in front of the marshal's office, and Garp didn't even knock on the door, so he walked in directly with Ryester. I'm back, Sengoku, empty old man. As soon as he entered the room, facing the 2 people, Garp yelled. I know, you don't have to say so loudly. Rubbing his forehead with his bare hands, he felt a headache. The situation in New World on the ocean was really messed up recently. As Marshal Marine, he has a lot of things to deal with. Garp, is that the good seed you said? Sengoku asked Ryester, who was standing next to Garp. This was also the first time Ryester had seen Sengoku Admiral and Marshal Sora himself. Just sitting there gave Ryester a terrifying pressure. Well, that's what I told you, Lister. Garp patted Ryester directly on the back and staggered him directly. If nothing else, there would definitely be a red handprint on Ryester's back. Doesn't it seem to be special? Sora stared at List carefully before speaking slowly. He hasn't seen any difference in List so far. Of course you can't see it, but Ryester has a special skill. You can learn everything at a glance. Hearing Garp say this to himself, Wrist glanced at him with a surprised look. He did guess that, but he didn't expect Garp to find out. Have you learned Bogart's swordsmanship just by looking at it? Just holding the sword intent radiates from your body. Yes, Garp said proudly, as if he was the one who did this. Do you have such a terrifying talent only in kendo? Sora asked Lister. I don't know, but I feel the same is true in other aspects. Anyway, I don't feel anything is more difficult for me since I grew up. Well, I like your confidence. The reason why Lister said this is to express himself better. Only in this way can he be better trained by Marine. But since you said that, then I will test you. After speaking, Sora banged a punch directly at the wall behind him, only to hear a bang, and a hole with a diameter of 2 meters appeared in front of everyone. Ah! Seeing this scene, Sengoku had a headache. He is now gradually accepting the position of Martial Marine, so the cost of repairing the wall has to be repaired by him, and it will also be his office in the future. Maybe when he takes over in the future, this office will already be like Tizius's ship. Although it looks exactly like the original one, every piece has been refurbished. No, old man Empty, you are a little bit difficult for you. Garp asked a little uncomfortably. He felt that the old fellow Sora seemed to be making trouble for himself again. Don't you say that he only needs to take a look at what he learns. I'm just testing him. Could it be that you lied to me before? Marshal Sora's question made Garp speechless. It's okay, Garp Vice Admiral, I can give it a try. At this moment, Lister spoke. Upon hearing these words, Sora and Sengoku both cast surprised glances at Ryester. Have you learned? Garp asked in shock. Well, I feel I should have learned it. Okay, kid, just try it against that wall. If it breaks, I'll be responsible. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. The wall Garp was referring to was the wall next to them. Hearing Garp say this, Sengoku originally wanted to open his mouth to stop it. If the wall were to be destroyed, then the marshal's office would be really tattered, but after thinking about it, he still didn't say anything. Because he still believes that Lister cannot cause damage to the other wall. I saw that Wrist walk to the front of the wall, raised his fist, in exactly the same posture as Marshal Sora just now. Oh, seeing this picture, the three of them were a little surprised, because they looked at the back and felt that they were the smaller Marshal Kong, and both the posture and the angle were exactly the same as the punches that Marshal Kong had just thrown. With a bang, I saw that Wrist hit the wall with a punch, and then cracked around with his fist as the center. Although the wall was not completely broken, there is no doubt that the wall has to be replaced. But at this time the attention of these three people was not on the strong, but all of them were on Lister's body. With their eyes, you can almost see how much power Ryester has in his body at a glance, but the damage caused by the punch just now is definitely not something that the existing power in Ryester's body can do. The power of the whole body must be used. It broke out in an instant. Thank you for the Marshal's advice. Wrist turned to the stunned Marshal Sora and said. Really did it? All three of them showed incredulous expressions. Even if they have seen Garp on both sides, the expressions on their faces are also unbelievable. If Sakazuki and the others are monsters relying on devil fruit, then Wrist is relying on his own talents, evildoer. Come on, attack me directly with your punch. Kong arrived in front of Lister in an instant. In an instant, Lister's pupils shrank. He also learned this ability. Using the instantaneous burst of leg power to achieve the effect of short-distance high-speed movement, this is one of Marine 6 styles, shave. Good. Afterwards, Lister once again assumed the same posture as before, and then directly hit the empty abdomen, visible to the naked eye, and there was a burst of energy behind him. Sure enough, it's the move I just used, Sora said with excitement. Although he was attacked by such a huge force, he did nothing at all, even if he didn't use armament hockey or iron body for defense. After all, he is Martial Marine, a man known as Kong. Now there are very few men in the ocean who can face him upright. Although he is often active behind the scenes, his strength has not regressed. Boy, your name is Wrist, it's really good. After speaking, Sora planned to pat Wrist's shoulder, but when Wrist saw the arm that was about to fall, Sora used the shave to leave the place. After all, Sora's emotions are a bit agitated now, and his power may not be well controlled. Wrist doesn't want to be slapped into the floor by the opponent. Seeing Ryester using the more difficult master shave in Marine 6 styles, the three of them opened their eyes again, and then quickly realized when Ryester learned it. When Sora used shave subconsciously, Garp and Sengoku were shocked at Ryester and didn't pay attention. I didn't expect your observation ability to be so good. Sora's heart is very pleased now, their Marine has finally appeared a good seed. After all, I will not miss the slightest opportunity to improve my strength now. Ryester said firmly. Ha ha ha, well, we Marine needs someone like you. I guess that fellow Zephyr will be so excited that he can't sleep when he sees you. Zephyr, now Marine Admiral, is also the General Instructor of Marine Academy. Although Zephyr has taught many excellent disciples over the years, 3 of the best are the 3 who took Logia Devil Fruit. This makes Zephyr always very depressed, because he hopes that one disciple can inherit his mantle, become a real master of physique. But those disciples who didn't take Devil Fruit would have average talent or lack of perseverance. Zephyr belongs to the kind of person who is not talented but has perseverance. He does not have the high talent of Garp and the strong Devil Fruit ability of Sengoku, but he has become Marine by his own efforts. Admiral has the name Black Arm Zephyr. If it weren't for my busy schedule, I really want to accept you as a disciple myself. Kong said regretfully. He had heard some gossip. After he retires from Martial Marine, he will take over the position of Commander-in-Chief of the 3 armies. At that time, his kung fu will be even more busy, and there will be no practice to train a disciple. Old Man Kong, or leave this kid to the old man for training. At this time, only Garp's carefree voice rang. Originally, Sengoku was also planning to train Ryester, but he didn't have time. If you have this time, why not educate me with your son? Hearing Sora say this, Garp's face instantly stretched. His son Dorag didn't know what happened recently, and suddenly left Marine without where he was going, and a Marine Vice Admiral's leave without saying goodbye is a thing for Marine. The huge loss can also be understood as a traitor to Marine. If it wasn't for the fact that the other party was Garp's son, Marine had already issued him a wanted order. Sengoku, leave this guy to Zephyr. Tell him that he must focus on training. He is Marine's future. Yes, Marshal Sora. Although Wrist was brought back by Garp, Sora didn't trust him. He was afraid that Garp would lose this kid at Naval Headquarters. Come on, Lister. Sengoku walked to Lister's side and said to him. But when he walked forward, he found that Ryester was standing there without moving. What's wrong, Sengoku Admiral? Why don't you carry me? My feet can't move now. Wrist said with some embarrassment. He didn't expect that after using a shave, it would have caused such a heavy burden on his body. Sure enough, his current physique is still too weak. Hearing Wrist's words, Garp laughed unscrupulously. All right. After speaking, Sengoku walked to Ryester's side, but instead of carrying him on his back, he picked him up directly and carried him on his shoulders. In the future, before your body has not exercised well, don't use such tricks that put such a heavy burden on your body. Sengoku reminded kindly. Yes, Sengoku Admiral. After speaking, Lister lowered his head directly. After all, it was too conspicuous to be resisted by an admiral. Lister didn't want everyone to be known on the first day he entered Naval Headquarters. And it is not a good reputation. Along the way, facing many Marines' pointers and staring in surprise, Ryester really wanted to find a place to sew and drill down, only to cover his face tightly. Soon, Sengoku took Ryester to the door of Marine Academy. Standing outside the school, Wrist heard the voice of, oh, ha, ah, from inside, giving people a vigorous feeling. It can be said that Marine Academy should be the most energetic place in the entire Naval Headquarters. Sengoku Admiral. As soon as Sengoku appeared, teachers and students shouted respectfully. Well, where is Zephyr? Report Sengoku Admiral. Zephyr Admiral is currently in the office, studying the training plan of each student. Well, you guys train first, I'll go to Zephyr. Yes, Sengoku Admiral. Afterwards, these teachers once again devoted themselves to training students, but the attitude of this group of students was not as serious as they were just now. They were all discussing who was the kid who was resisted by Sengoku Admiral, including those teachers. After all, no matter where they are, no matter who they are, there is an 8 trigrams heart. When Sengoku left with Wrist, Garp and Sora were left in the marshal's office. Garp, you really have a problem for me this time. When I think of Garp's crimes, Sora is a big head. He doesn't know how to explain it to him. Although he is Marshal Marine, in the eyes of the world government, he is nothing more than a running dog. Cut. The old man didn't know that this bunch of slaves turned out to be the fool's goods. If he knew it, the old man wouldn't touch it. Garp is telling the truth. If he knew that the ship was carrying Celestial Dragon's goods, even if he knew there were slaves on the ship, he would not take care of it, because it would be too much trouble. But he had already taken action against those guys, so even if the other party moved out of the Celestial Dragon's name, it would be useless. After all, he had already done everything, so he wouldn't mind making it bigger. Garp. Sora's voice grew louder when he heard Garp call those Celestial Dragons fools. His tone was a bit angry, some helpless and a hint of panic. It's okay, I know it, don't say it, don't say it. Garp shook his head. The reason why he refused to be promoted to Admiral several times was because he didn't want to get involved with those Celestial Dragons. He couldn't understand the guys, but he was helpless with the guys. This feeling was really uncomfortable, so Garp just turned out of sight and was not upset. But I think that old man, you should have a way to solve this matter. After all, you don't want such a good seedling to be ruined by those stupid pigs. Garp. Sora couldn't help getting angry again when he heard Garp say this again. Fine, I won't say anything. There is no way, I can only find another ship of slaves for Celestial Dragons. I don't think they should know who they have been providing slaves to. Is there no other way? Hearing Sora say this, Garp couldn't help clenching his fists. Because doing so would be too cruel for the subsequent victims. No, otherwise I will send List and the slaves back, and release the pirates. Afterwards, Garp slapped the table angrily, slapped the table in front of him in half, and then left angrily without knowing his head. Faced with this situation, Sora also sighed helplessly. Even though he had a lot of dissatisfaction with Celestial Dragons, he could only hold it in his heart and couldn't vent it, because to put it bluntly, he was a dog, raised by Celestial Dragons. Even for the people of this world, he has to stick to this position, because if he, Marshal Marine, leaves because of Celestial Dragons, then the sea will definitely become more chaotic and even more unbearable. Ordinary people. Life will be closer to hell. The idea that Sora insists in his heart is to use the sacrifice of a few people in exchange for peace for more people. And Sengoku had also carried Ryester to Zephyr's office at this time, and walked in without knocking on the door. For old friends, that kind of polite ceremony is no longer needed, after all, they are used to it. Hearing no one knocked on the door, his door was opened. Zephyr frowned and raised his head, but when he saw that the person was Sengoku, his frowning expression turned into a smile. It's been a long time, Sengoku, why are you free to come to me? Zephyr smiled and said, from the tone of voice, he was still very happy after seeing Sengoku. Since he retired from the front line, he has been recruiting almost wholeheartedly, and rarely left Marine Academy, so the chances of meeting Sengoku and the others have become less and less. Sent you a good seedling. After speaking, Sengoku threw Lister directly on the chair in front of Zephyr. Afterwards, Lister and Zephyr had their first gaze in their lives. Sengoku, you won't joke with me anymore, just this kid, you told me it's a good seedling. Zephyr pointed at Wrist, his face full of disbelief. Yes, he is a good seed, under the witness of me, Garp and Marshal Sora. Oh, isn't it another demon fruit power? To be honest, looking at Ryester like this, Zephyr really can't see anything special, even if it is induced by observation hockey. No, then what is so good about this seedling? To be honest, just such a kid, even the last person in my Marine Academy can beat him. After all, at the Marine Academy, the youngest is only 13 or 4 years old. A kid like Lister is probably still playing in the mud. Do you think that the one who Master Shaved and Marshal Sora collapsed his fist, is not your last opponent? Hearing this, Zephyr was a little stunned. He was not stupid. Of course he knew what Sengoku meant by saying these words, but he still had to ask uncertainly. You said this little devil master had the Marshal's broken fist and the shaved of the 6 styles. Well, and just by looking at it, I learned it. Huh. Zephyr took a deep breath in and exhaled. The news was too shocking for him, shocked like a fake news, but when he saw Sengoku's serious look on his face, he knew that he didn't lie to himself, and it's impossible to deliberately come and find a kid to lie to yourself. The injury on his foot was caused by shaving. If you were right, then he should learn from Marshall Sora's shaving. Most people use the left foot for the first shaved foot, and Marshall Sora is used to the right foot, and Ryoster's injured foot happens to be the right foot. Yes, hiss. Hearing Sengoku's answer, Zephyr took a breath. He had seen Garp the most talented person in physique, but now this kid is more enchanting than Garp. Marshall Sora hopes you can do your best to train him. If nothing happens, he will be a candidate for Marine Admiral in the future. As for whether they are worried about whether Lister will betray Marine in the future, it is basically impossible in their minds. They have brainwashed you since childhood, and have been washing you until you grow up. Is it possible for you to betray? Go back and tell Marshal Kong, please don't worry, this kid old man must train with all his strength. Although Zephyr didn't really see Ryoster's talent, he already believed what Sengoku said. I think I can remind you not to give him all your things, otherwise you will have nothing to teach in the future. Don't worry, the old man knows it well. During the conversation between the two of them, Wrist was sitting there all the time. Although the content of the conversation was about him, except for a glance at him, the two of them kept looking at each other, full of affection. Then I will leave first. After speaking, Sengoku planned to leave. Finally meet once, won't you drink a little with me? Forget it, I have a chance next time, now my official duties are also very busy. Okay, then I won't keep you, maybe you will already be Marshal Marine when we meet next time. It should be, but I still hope that you can go back to the front and continue to fight with us, Zephyr, Marine still needs your power now. Suddenly, in the second half of the sentence, Sengoku said with a serious face that now Marine only has Admiral who can play, which is not enough. Forget it, the old man is used to retreating to the second line of life, and protects the family members behind Marine who are fighting with the pirates. Sengoku was silent when he heard Zephyr say this. The reason why Zephyr is like this is that their naval headquarters also has a big problem. He doesn't know how the pirates sneaked into naval headquarters and killed Zephyr's wife and children. Sorry, Zephyr, that is indeed Marine's fault. Forget it, don't talk about it anymore. The matter is over. It doesn't make much sense to continue. The old man now only needs to do what the old man should do. If you don't want to drink, the old man will not keep you. You go back now. Ah, hearing Zephyr say this, Sengoku sighed helplessly, flung the cloak of justice he was wearing, and left. In the end, only Ryoster and Zephyr were left looking at each other with big eyes and small eyes. Boy, what do you think of the old man doing this way? Zephyr Admiral, I've heard about you. It's called not killing Admiral, but your kindness is used in the wrong place. For the pirates, Zephyr Admiral, your kindness only helps increase the arrogance of those pirates. Arrogance. Wrist said seriously. When he watched One Piece in his previous life, he felt sorry for Zephyr. He obviously dedicated his life to Marine, but in the end it can be said that he was abandoned by Marine. Doesn't even you kid agree with my point of view? It seems that the old man was really wrong. Zephyr didn't think much about Ryoster's words, but just treated Ryoster as a simple child, and regarded Ryoster's words as the opinions that a 7-year-old child should have. You leave first. The old man will let you arrange a dormitory for you. Tomorrow you will train with that group of recruits. I want to see what Sengoku praised you for. Yes, Zephyr Admiral. Wrist is still very excited about being able to learn from Zephyr. Although Zephyr may not be as strong as Garp or Sengoku, since it can be called Black Arm Zephyr by Marine, its strength is naturally very terrifying, especially his armament Haki. You know, the battle between New World is about the strength of who Haki is. Afterwards, Zephyr lowered his head and began to process the documents on hand. With so many students in Marine School, Zephyr could not pay attention to all of them. However, Zephyr still selected some students to form an elite class, and he was working for each of the elite classes. Trainees develop a training plan. Soon, it was night, and when Zephyr raised his head again, he was startled to see Lister, who was already sleepy sitting in front of her. You kid, why haven't you left now? Zephyr's voice also awakened Ryoster from fear in an instant. Hug, sorry, Zephyr Admiral, he can't walk with his feet now, so he can only sit here all the time. To be honest, Wrist said that he was uncomfortable all over, but he didn't dare to disturb Zephyr aloud. He could only endure it all the time. He didn't expect to fall asleep without knowing when. Oh, blame me for this. All right, then the old man will take you away. Zephyr is real. Lister's leg inconvenience has been forgotten. After speaking, Zephyr walked directly in front of Lister and directly clamped him up. That's right, it was clamped up and clamped around his waist. This made Lister feel more than Sengoku resisted him in the morning. It made him feel uncomfortable, because it was so embarrassing. Fortunately, it was dark now, and no one noticed, otherwise Wrist would really feel embarrassed. You can rest with the old man tonight. This can be said to be Ryester's special treatment. After all, he is now able to learn from Zephyr and it is considered a special treatment. Zephyr's house is very large, a 2-story building, but it feels very deserted. As Marine Admiral, there is not even an adjutant or even a servant in the house. Afterwards, Zephyr threw Lister directly on the sofa. Be hungry, I will cook you something to eat, and rest early after eating. Tomorrow I will train you like a normal Marine, and will not favor you because of your young age. Yes, Zephyr Admiral, I can't ask for it. After that, Zephyr walked into the kitchen, and Wrist was also looking at Zephyr's home. He saw a photo on the cabinet next to him. The content of the photo was a majestic man, a gentle and beautiful woman and an energetic child. That woman and that child should be Zephyr's family, but now there is only one person left. Soon, Zephyr came up with a large piece of meat. He didn't know what meat was from the fierce beast. The volume of the meat was bigger than Wrist's whole person. Eat, you can get better and faster if you are full, and you can train better tomorrow. Yes, Zephyr Admiral, this may be the unique rule of Pirate World. If you are injured, you don't need to take medicine at all, just eat more meat. Zephyr Admiral, can I come to live with you every day from now on? Hearing this, Zephyr was stunned for a moment, and his food-eating movements had already slowed down. Why? Because Zephyr Admiral is a widow and lonely, just one person is missing to take care of him, and I am also alone, I feel that we two are just right together. To be honest, Lister is of course selfish. After all, for students, nothing can help students more than teachers and students staying together. You kid, the old man doesn't need your care yet, and you are the one being taken care of now. Hearing this, Wrist showed a rather awkward smile on his face, and it seemed that it was indeed the case. But just when Ryester felt that there was no hope, Zephyr's voice rang again. From now on you will come back with me every day. Yes, Zephyr Admiral. Don't call me Admiral, call me Teacher. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Hearing this name of Ryester, Zephyr smiled deeply at the corner of Ryester's invisible angle, perhaps he also felt that he would not be alone anymore. Early the next morning, Wrist was called by Zephyr. He was unfamiliar here, he could only follow Zephyr. He was there where Zephyr was, and the injury on his foot was when he woke up today. It was all well, which made him have to sigh, the magic of Pirate World. As the saying goes, it hurts the muscles and bones for 100 days, but now he has recovered from the beginning in less than a day. To be honest, for today, Wrist is very looking forward to what he can learn from Zephyr today. Soon, Zephyr took Ryester to a small playground next to Marine Academy, and there were 20 soldiers waiting to be trained in this small playground. Ryester felt from them and other Marine Academy students. Different breath on the body. This is the elite class of Marine Academy and the class taught by the old man himself. Each of them is an elite of the elite. Zephyr explained to Lister. I can see, Teacher Zephyr, these 20 people are completely different from the students outside. And the 20 elite students standing in front of them all showed curious eyes when they saw Wrist. They didn't even know who the kid next to Zephyr was. Let me introduce to you, he will be one of you in the future, his name is Wrist. Hearing what Zephyr said, even though these people were extremely surprised and unbelievable in their hearts, there was no change in their expressions. This made Zephyr nodded in satisfaction. Please take care of me. My name is Wrist. I want to be a Marine Admiral man. Hearing what Wrist said, these elites were stunned, even Zephyr was stunned, but this also made Zephyr's eyes look at Wrist even more admiration. And the reason Reister said this was just to get a good impression in front of Zephyr. Good. Zephyr clapped his hands and applauded. I hope you can also set a goal for yourself, so that you can have a better motivation to move forward. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. 20 Marine elites all spoke out. Well, yes, then start now, the formal training, first run 20 laps around this playground, and now start. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Wrist, you follow too. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Now Zephyr is like a physical education teacher, watching his students running laps, but this is really a pain for Ryester. One lap is about 400 meters, and 20 laps have 8,000 meters. For a 7-year-old child, an 8,000-meter walk may not be able to complete, let alone run, but Wrist did not send out any rebuttal. And Zephyr has been staring at Lister all the time. In other words, this is a test he gave Lister. Because for him, no matter how talented the person is, but as long as he doesn't work hard, then he will never become a strong one, and Zephyr now wants to see how Chen Yifan's perseverance is. When he had just finished 1,000 meters, Wrist was already dying, sweating profusely and short of breath. At the beginning he was able to run with the team, but now he has fallen farther and farther. But he still did not give up. Finally, Lister ran to 2 kilometers. At this time, his legs seemed to be filled with lead. It took a lot of effort to lift each step. Although his speed was getting slower and slower, he still didn't stop. Come down. And those elite students have finished their 8,000-meter run. Except for a little shortness of breath and a thin layer of sweat on their foreheads, they did not have any discomfort. After all, they are all elites, and in this world of unusually strong physical fitness, 8 kilometers is just a warm-up for them. They all stood in line and waited for Zephyr's next training order, but they found that Zephyr did not respond to them, but kept watching the petite figure under the flames. At this time, they remembered that now they are not only training 20 people, but one more kid, 21. In their eyes, it is natural to see that Lister has reached the limit, but there is still more than half of the distance to run. All of them think that for Lister, 8 kilometers is an impossible task. However, Lister has been out of their expectations. It is clear that the next step is about to fall, but he has never gotten down. Come on. I don't know who said it softly. Although the voice was very small, they could still hear it clearly in this quiet playground. Then, more and more sounds of cheering, one after another, and Wrist seemed to have been affected by this sound, and the pace seemed to have accelerated slightly. Hearing the sound of cheering on his body, the expression on Zephyr's face also smiled. His students are still very united. Although they have already seen that Teacher Zephyr values the kid very much, they are all 18 or 9 years old after all, so naturally they will not be jealous with this kid. To put it a little bit exaggerated, they are already in 2 eras when they are 10 years apart. People out. By the time this kid graduated, maybe they would have already become Marine generals or died in battle. At this time, Ryester's movements seemed to be mechanical, and his body seemed to be out of the control of his brain. He didn't know why he was still holding on, why he was able to hold on, and why he hadn't fallen down yet. But he knew that he could not fall. Finally, after not knowing how long it took, Lister was finally approaching 8 kilometers, and he felt that his lungs were about to explode. There are 100 meters, 50 meters, 10 meters. Everyone is counting for Lister in their hearts. They have been subdued by Lister's perseverance. From the very beginning, no one was optimistic about Lister. Now they all hope that Lister will reach the end. There is nothing but themselves. People can experience their feelings of changes in their mentality. 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter. Oh, suddenly, a cheer broke out from the crowd, and this cheer was a celebration of Lister. However, they discovered that Lister was still running. At this time, Zephyr also noticed that Lister was wrong, and directly shaved to the front of Lister, and found that Lister had fainted. In other words, he has fainted a long time ago, and it has become an instinct for him to run all the time. You first train the master's 6 poses, and I will test you when I come back. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Afterwards, Zephyr left with Ryester in his arms. I have to say that Ryester's performance this time really gave Zephyr a surprise, and it also gave Zephyr a hope that can lead Marine to a more prosperous one. When Wrists woke up, it was already dark. He took a look at the surroundings and found that this was Zephyr's home and the place where he rested last night. Next to him is Mr. Zephyr, who is sitting with a pair of sunglasses. To be honest, Ryester is really curious about why Zephyr wears sunglasses even when it's dark. Is it possible that he is not afraid of walking and being tripped? Somersault, or when he is walking, he keeps observation hockey turned on. You kid, finally woke up. The old man's legs are numb when he is sitting here. Seeing Ryester waking up, Zephyr's tone didn't sound very good, but what he said still showed his deep concern for Ryester. Sorry, Teacher Zephyr, I worried you, but Teacher Zephyr, why am I here? I still want to ask you, why did you faint when running, or why did you faint and still running? Hearing what Zephyr said, the memories of the morning flooded Ryester's mind bit by bit. He remembered that when he was halfway through the run, he could no longer hold on. The darkness in front of him was already dark, but his body seemed to be out of his control and was always moving. I don't know, maybe I don't want to be taken away as a slave again. Hearing what Ryester said, Zephyr's heart was a little moved. He already knew where Ryester came from. He was a poor man saved by Garp. He couldn't understand what Ryester felt at this time, but he had experienced the powerless feeling that Ryester had once felt. If you want, you can follow the old man as a teacher, and the old man will teach you everything I know. Meet Master. Wrist wanted to get up, but he was so weak that he could only say these words excitedly while lying on the bed. Although master and teacher are just a word difference, they have two completely different meanings. Zephyr has many students, but not a disciple, because none of the Marines he teaches can be truly recognized by Zephyr. Well, Ryester, from now on, you will be the old man's disciple. First of all, let me tell you that to become an old man's disciple will be very strict in future training. If you can't persist, don't blame me for being polite. I'm telling you, it's too late if I want to quit now. Yes, Master, I will not give up. I must become a Marine whose strength surpasses you. Okay, the old man is waiting for the day you surpass me. You can take a good rest tonight and go to Marine Academy by yourself tomorrow. I hope you will be there waiting for me when I arrive. Yes, Master. Hearing this call, Zephyr smiled with satisfaction at the corner of his mouth, then turned and left. When Lister called Zephyr his master, Lister had already become Zephyr's only inverse scale. Even he didn't know why. In just one day, he had already regarded Lister as his best. The person you are close to, maybe this is the charm. The next day, Ryester woke up early. Maybe I slept too much yesterday, and after waking up, I didn't feel any discomfort. After simply making 2 breakfasts, Ryester came to Marine Academy. It's still the small playground from yesterday. At this time, there were already several students training on the small playground. When they saw Lister, they all showed a surprised expression on their faces. They knew exactly what Lister was like yesterday to the end. I didn't expect it would come again today. Hi, Ryester, I didn't expect to see you again today. My name is Bluno. Yesterday you walked so eagerly that we didn't have time to say hello to you. At this time, a man with blonde hair who seemed to be 18 years old greeted Lister, and it could be seen that he should be a somewhat lively person. Hello, Bluno. Next, a few more students introduced to Ryester that through Ryester's performance yesterday, they knew that the relationship between Ryester and Zephyr was unusual, so the main reason they did this was just to be in the heart of Zephyr. Make a good impression on the face. Soon, it was time to gather for training. Everyone was divided into 2 rows and stood up, except that there was one more Ryester, standing next to each other. In the next second, Teacher Zephyr just appeared in their sight. Looking at the 21 people in a neat line, Zephyr nodded in satisfaction. Now you are all elites among the students, even stronger than ordinary soldiers on the battlefield, but your strength is far from my requirements. I think you should remember, what are the assessment criteria I set for you? Remember, except for Lister, 20 soldiers answered uniformly. Well, that's good. The assessment content I give you is any 2 of the Master Marine 6 styles, and it reaches the level of Grand Master. Do any of you now meet this standard? Hearing this, the 20 soldiers became silent. None of them has done it now. At most, they are only Grand Masters. Trash, if you continue like this, it may not take long before you will be surpassed by Lister. Hearing this, they immediately became dissatisfied. They were all elites. They were told that a 7-year-old child was not as good as a 7-year-old child. Even though they knew that Teacher Zephyr was trying to spur them, but still their hearts are very uncomfortable. You don't need to be dissatisfied. Lister has already mastered the Master's Shave in Marine 6 styles. Who of you can master the shave now? Hearing Zephyr say this, everyone was stunned. The difficulty of training in Marine 6 styles is enough to rank in the top 3, like most of them practice the simpler moonwalk and finger pistol. Ms. Zephyr, I don't believe Ryester can shave Master. At this time, a student said. That's right, Teacher Zephyr, I don't believe it either. If Ryester can shave the Master, I am willing to double the training project. I do, too, Teacher Zephyr. Although they respect Teacher Zephyr in their hearts, they never allow Teacher Zephyr to be so insulted. Well, as long as Ryester can use the shave, are all of you willing to double the difficulty of training? Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Well, I look forward to the regretful expression on your faces for a while. Lister, are you okay? Quote, of course, Master. Although Zephyr has not seen Ryester use the shave with his own eyes, he has heard from Sengoku. He believes that Sengoku will not fool him. Now that he hears Ryester's affirmation, he feels more confident in his heart. Chapter 11. Okay, Lister, you go out and show this bunch of trash guys a shave. Yes, Master. At this time, some of the students finally discovered that Ryester's name for Teacher Zephyr was wrong, and changed it to Master. You know, Master is not something ordinary people can call, but the most important thing now is whether Ryester can call it. Use out shaving. Shave, Wrist said. His figure came from the front of the queue to Zephyr's side in an instant. Seeing this scene, the elite students were all in a stunned state. Although they don't know how to shave yet, Teacher Zephyr has taught them the principle of shave, and they can also recognize whether the other party is using shave or not. Even Zephyr was slightly surprised when he saw the shave that Ryester used, because he didn't expect that Ryester would use it so skillfully. On the basis of shave, he was no weaker than him. Sure enough, the old man really picked up the treasure this time. He now believes more and more in what Sengoku said. Really, I'm still dreaming and not awake, am I? Anyway, everyone had an unbelievable expression. When they saw Ryester using the shave so skillfully, their hearts were in a state of ignorance. Okay, you all shut up. Everything you see now is true. Now you have to start fulfilling your promises. From now until graduation, your training will be all its double. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. It's just that this time the shouting is not as energetic as the previous few times, all of them look like they are stunned. After all, their current training intensity can be said to be very high. If they doubled it, they would have a day. But there is no free time at all. Then you train yourself here first. Lister, come with me. Yes, Master. Afterwards, List followed Zephyr to a corner. Wrist, to be honest, your talent has exceeded my expectations. Among all the people I have seen, whether it is Marine or our opponent Pirate, no one has your high talent. Hey, Master, it's ridiculous. When Zephyr called Lister away, the elite students were also whispering. Hey, did you hear what Lister called Teacher Zephyr just now? What is it call? Call Master. Master, it's true, you can't get it wrong, right? Of course it's impossible. I have listened to it several times. I heard it too. Wrist is indeed calling Teacher Zephyr Master. At this time, another person said that soon, all the 20 Marine elite students noticed this incident. Doesn't that mean that Wrist is already a disciple of Teacher Zephyr? Well, it should be like this. Hiss. Suddenly, everyone took a breath. There were many people who wanted to worship Zephyr as their teacher, and there were even some people with prominent backgrounds and better talents who wanted to worship Zephyr as their teacher, but they were all taken by Zephyr. Rejected. No one can enter his Dharma vision. It seems that we will have to respect this little brother in the future. Even if he is not Teacher Zephyr's disciple, but just because he was 7 years old when the Master was shaved, he has far surpassed us. If nothing else, he will be a strong admiral candidate in the future. Now, they remembered what Ryester said yesterday. It was not a big talk at all, but his real strength and talent. This time you run out of shave, how do you feel compared to before? Master, it's much better than the last time. After the last time I used the shave, I couldn't even walk. Now I can walk a few steps, but I feel that if I use the shave again, it might still be the same as the last time. Quote. Well, after your first use and the exercise on your legs yesterday, yours has been able to withstand the power of a shave, but the second time, it will exceed your limit, but now I want to confirm your how talented is, and then make a training plan for you. Yes, Master. Okay, next, I will show you again and see if your talent is as Sengoku said. Yes, Master. Afterwards, Zephyr stretched out his index finger and quickly pointed to a wall in front of him, only to see that a big hole appeared in that wall in an instant. Normally, finger pistols move as just a glance with the bullet shot from the gun, which can only cause a little damage, but in Zephyr's hand, this does not have any additional finger pistol, and it directly makes a wall appear 1 meter wide. Hollow, and cracks appeared next to it. This movement naturally attracted those elite students. What's the matter with Teacher Zephyr? Why use finger pistol? Will Lister provoke Teacher Zephyr to rise up? You must be taught by Teacher Zephyr. But if you use the finger pistol lesson, isn't it too cruel? These elite students say something to you. Is it the only one who thinks that Teacher Zephyr is teaching Ryester to use finger pistol? No, you are not alone, I think so too. No, when did Teacher Zephyr be so perfunctory, so he didn't even explain the principle and just started to demonstrate? Who knows, don't you know if you take a look next? I saw that Wrist also assumed the same posture as Zephyr just now, and then pointed directly to a wall quickly, and when his hand was retracted, a finger-sized hole appeared in that wall. Isn't it? I'm not dazzled, Wrist actually succeeded. There should be no dazzling, I also saw Ryester succeeded. It seems Wrist may really be able to push Kuzan-senpai and them. And the most surprising one is Zephyr. Hearing and seeing it in person are completely two concepts. As the saying goes, hearing is false, seeing is believing, and now he completely believes it. Although finger pistol does not have too many skills, it is not something that ordinary people can use once they see it. Good, very good, excellent. These 3 good words in a row are enough to express the excitement in Zephyr's heart. It's enough for you to have shave and finger pistol now. I won't teach you any other fighting skills, because it is just a burden for you now. Your next training plan is to improve your physical fitness to your limit. I will tailor a training plan for you. Next, waiting for you, may be hell. Quote, yes, teacher, no matter what the next battle is, I will be able to persevere. Okay, then you do push-ups now, and when you can do it, you can't get up anymore, I'll go see those boys. Is teacher. Wrist didn't know that his nightmare was about to begin now. After that, Lister began his hellish training program. Although he hadn't seen Los Angeles at 4 in the morning before, he had seen Marineford at 4 in the morning. He suddenly regretted it now. Why are the people in Pirate World so good? According to his normal physique before, after intensive training on the first day, he couldn't get up at all on the second day. But now, no matter how intense his training is on the first day, as long as he sleeps online, the next day will be as good as before. And Ryester has been in Naval Headquarters for more than half a month now. Although it has only been for more than half a month, Ryester's physical fitness can be described differently from the past half a month ago. It can be said that it has changed. Huge. If it was said that one time shave would be exhausted, then there is no problem with 10 shaves now. It can be said that Ryester's physique has improved greatly every day. And Ryester has now become a man of the world. Although most of them don't know that Ryester has adopted Zephyr as a teacher, they all know that Ryester is a student of the elite class, which makes some other Marine students very heartfelt. No problem, they can't even compare to Lister. Then, some people have some careful thoughts that they shouldn't have in life. On this day, after school from Marine School, Wrist walked along the way he had used to go home as usual, but when he was halfway, he found someone was following him. Who is following me? Ryester paused for a while, and he noticed the shadows behind him from the corner of his eyes, and then suddenly accelerated and ran towards a small alley next to him. The few people who followed Ryester seemed to know that Ryester had found them, and then they were not hiding, and they chased Ryester. But when they chased into the alley, they found that there was no Wrist at all. What about people? Where is that little ghost? The golden-haired young man in the lead said angrily. Judging by his age, he should be only about 12 or 13 years old. I don't know, Boss Blaley, but we did watch him enter this alley. Behind him, a brown-haired teenager said that he was not too old, only 12 or 13 years old. Trash, both of you are trash. The blonde boy named Blaley turned and scolded the 2 attendants behind him. A few of you are following us. At this time, a voice came from the alley, and everyone turned around to see that it was the Ryester who had been lost by them. You have been following what I want to do. Wrist asked them directly, and he felt that these children should treat him badly. You kid, why are you able to enter the elite class? Even we are not eligible to enter the elite class. What qualifications do you have to enter the elite class? Seeing Lister's appearance, Braley's tone became even more aggressive when he saw Rist's appearance. Maybe this is a child, Moody. Hearing what the other party said, Rist also understood that this kid was jealous. A person younger than him entered the elite class, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Because I am stronger than you guys, boy. Little boy. You kid dare to call us little boy. Hearing Rist calling him a kid, Braley suddenly became frustrated. Originally, this time I just planned to come over to warn you and leave the elite class if I am acquainted, but now I regret it. I want to teach you a lesson, beat you to tears, and let you kneel on the ground and call you dad. Okay, I hope you are not the person who calls dad then. In Guy, Evan, you two will get on me, and I will count as I cry. Braley ordered to his two little brothers. Yes, boss. Afterwards, the two little guys showed fierce expressions and walked towards List. Boy, I advise you to kneel in front of us and call dad now, so as not to suffer some flesh and blood for a while. One of them had a hideous expression, but it looked a little funny in Ryester's eyes. After all, the other party is a 12-year-old child, and he is a person with a 20-year-old soul in his body. This kind of behavior of the other party was not even counted as finding fault in Ryester's eyes at this time, at most it was a guy who was dazzled by jealousy. Okay, you will come if you have that strength, don't talk about these nonsense. Well, since you little devil toasts and doesn't eat fine wine, then don't blame us for being impolite. After that, the two people raised their fists and rushed towards Lister, but the speed of the two of them who thought they were extremely fast was extremely slow in Lister's eyes. They only slid their heads twice and escaped the two people. The first attack. That's it. Hearing Ryester's somewhat mocking tone, the two of them were also angry. After all, it was a bit uncomfortable to be looked down upon by someone younger than him. Boy, don't be proud, the next blow will definitely make you look good. Right, then you come on. Hearing Lister's plain tone, the two angrily raised their fists again and hit Lister, but this time, Lister did not intend to evade, but to counterattack. When one of the opponent's fists was about to fall on him, Rist's body flashed to the side, and then he made a fist with his right hand, and instantly hit the opponent's abdomen. If someone was behind that person, he would find that in Rise when focusing on the opponent, there was a burst of energy from the back of his body, which shows how powerful Ryester's punch was. At this moment, another person's attack was about to arrive, and Rist jumped directly and immediately past the place, then when he was in midair, he turned and kicked directly into that person's mind. But this time, Chen Yifan relented. Otherwise, if Ryester didn't reinforce the fragile part of his head, with Ryester's current strength, he could definitely kick the opponent's head. Well, you are left alone now. Boy, didn't you expect you to be quite capable. Although Bulaley was a little surprised that Lister had defeated his two little brothers, there was no panic on his face, as if he still had a whole card. But your highlight moment will end here. You can't beat my Lord Bulaley. Brer said somewhat arrogantly. For this scene, Rist only mentioned these two sons, which reminded him of a disease in his previous life, the name of which was called Zhong disease. What, you dare to say that I am sick? It seems that I will not let you see how powerful I am, Lord Bulaley. You won't even know how terrible I am. When the time comes, I will suffer. Don't go home and tell the parents. This sentence should be what I told you. Good. Afterwards, Blarley stretched out his hand to Lister. Seeing this action, Lister was a little stunned. At such a distance, without any weapons, Blarley would not be able to hit him by just reaching out. But in the next second, Rist noticed that Braley's arm had changed, as if it had become a piece of wood, and it was quickly extended. Seeing this scene, Rist was a little stunned, but the wood was about to arrive. When Rist faced the door, Rist used the shave and left there. And the piece of wood only hit the wall behind Rist just now, and directly cracked the wall. Ha ha ha, you know now that you are afraid, I ate the Paramesha wooden fruit, wooden golem, you can't beat me. Braley didn't seem to notice how Lister hid, he just wanted to show off his ability in front of Lister. Demon Fruit Power. This is the first time Ryester has come to this world to see Demon Fruit Power, but he didn't expect it to be on a marine student. Yes, now you know that you are afraid, so quickly kneel on the ground and call Dad, so as not to suffer from flesh and blood for a while. Pity. What a pity. Hearing the pity in Ryester's mouth, Brawley asked with some doubts. Even if you are demon fruit power, you are not my opponent. What are you talking about? How dare you look down on me? Yes, I just look down on you. If it were Logia's demon fruit power, Ristre really had nothing to do with the other party now, but it was a paramesha. I will make you pay. After speaking, all 10 fingers of the other party turned into wooden sticks, and they attacked Rist. It's too slow, you can't hit me with such an attack. When Blarley's attack was about to fall on Rist's body, he directly used the shave to come to the back of Blarley. What? This time, Blaley finally noticed the way Ryester moved. You know how to shave. Oh, you still know how to shave. In this way, your identity is extraordinary. Although Ryester doesn't know the process of Marine Academy and how to divide the classes, a student in an ordinary class, who is not too old, can recognize the shaver he uses, plus a devil fruit, enough to see each other. The identity is not ordinary. Stop talking nonsense, I must make you kneel in front of me and call Dad today. After speaking, the other party directly pressed his hand to the ground, and the 10 fingers were directly inserted into the ground. What is this going to do? Rist was a little puzzled in his heart. But soon, his doubts were answered, and he found that the ground under his feet was shaking. So, is it going to attack from the underground? It is indeed a good way, but the movement is too obvious. Afterwards, Rist used the shave again and came to Braley's front. Not good. Brawley screamed, trying to withdraw his hand, but unfortunately it was too late, and Rist's fist had hit the opponent's abdomen. But at the moment of the hit, Ryester found something wrong, and the hand felt wrong. It was not so much a piece of meat as it was a piece of wood. No, kid, I can turn any part of my body into wood and increase my attack power and defense power. You can't beat me. Really, that's not necessarily true. Ristall's current attack methods are finger pistol, collapse punches, and other ordinary punches and kicks. But now it seems that ordinary punches and kicks cannot defeat the opponent at all, and the use of finger pistol will cause the opponent to be injured. Therefore, if he wants to defeat the opponent, he can only use the broken punch taught by Martial Sora. However, even the power of Benquan is tremendous, and Rist can only control the intensity, otherwise it will be bad if he directly cripples the opponent. What do you want to do? Seeing Ryester's fist-clenching posture, Blaley's heart suddenly rises with a bad premonition. I have to say that Blaley's plan to attack Chen Yifan from the ground is really misguided. The time he took back was enough for Rist to attack twice. In this time, Blaley was a living target. Benquan. Afterwards, Blaley directly felt a huge force, and his whole body flew out directly, and even the wooden hand that was still underneath was forced to fly with Blaley. He hit the wall and coughed up blood. When he fell from the wall, he couldn't get up anymore. Although he was not unconscious, he had no fighting ability. Seeing Rist, who was slowly approaching him, Blaley's arrogance disappeared immediately, and all that was left was panic. Don't come over, don't come over. At this time, Rist looked like a devil in Blaley's eyes, and the thin body did not look like a human at all, but a humanoid beast. Don't you want to know why I can join the elite class? That's why I can join the elite class. Okay, you can call Dad now. Quote, List crouched in front of Brawley. Don't think about it. After he said these words, he heard a pop, and Rist's palm slammed directly on his face. Although he didn't use any force, Blaley felt a huge insult. Hurry up. Impossible. Then List slapped again. Hurry up. My father is Alva Vice Admiral. But it was another big mouth that responded to him. Have you listened to me? My father is Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. If you touch me, my father will not let you go. Really, Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, but my master is Zephyr Admiral. I don't know if there is any official senior from your father. Hearing what Ryester said, Blaley was stunned. This was really murderous. Although his father is Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, there is no way to compare with Zephyr Admiral. His father must be respectful in front of Zephyr Admiral. Dad, just listen. The next second, Blaley said directly and neatly. This kind of simplicity made Rist a bit stunned. As expected, whoever has a higher status in this world is more powerful. Why come back so late today? When Lister got home, Zephyr asked Lister. Nothing, Master, I just met an interesting person. Thinking of Braley's last clean dad, Wrist really felt very interesting. Well, you are fine. If you encounter something, please tell me in time. Even if the marshal is bullying you, you can tell me, no matter if you are in the wrong, I will talk to the other party. Yes, master. Hearing Zephyr's words, Ryester's heart was very moved. He could feel it now. Zephyr had regarded him as a relative. Maybe Zephyr gave Ryester the love he didn't give to his son. After all, Lister's current age is not much different from the age of his son's death. Perhaps he wanted to make up for the love in Lister's body. Let's eat. Go and practice after eating. Yes, master. Zephyr can be said to be very strict for Lister. Even if Lister has a little bit of laziness, Zephyr is not allowed. Perhaps he does not want the tragedy that happened to him to happen again, so he hopes Lister has the power of self-preservation has been demanding Ryester with the highest demands. But Zephyr's dinners are indeed very nutritious. Each meal is Sea King's meat. The energy contained in the meat will slowly blend into his body during Ryester's training and rest. After eating, Lister came to Zephyr's training ground. Now it has almost become Lister's personal training ground. Zephyr rarely comes here anymore. After all, Marine Academy's business is every day. Very busy. His strength is not as strong as he used to be on the front line. On the training ground, Wrist closed his eyes alone, and the scene he had just been fighting with Blair appeared in his mind, and what he recalled most carefully was the scene when Blair used the Devil Fruit ability. Afterwards, Wrist opened his eyes, and there was a gleam of light in his eyes. Maybe I can do it too. Afterwards, Wrist stretched out his arm, and saw that his arm gradually turned into a piece of wood in his shocked gaze, and stretched out under his intentional control, and then returned to the original shape of the arm. Including his own fingers, all of them can be turned into trees. Even every piece of skin on his body is like this, as if he too had eaten wooden fruits. I see. Lister understood something in an instant. It turns out that my cheat is not a good talent, but a copy. Wrist thought about it carefully. Everything after coming to Pirate World was first copied from Bogart's body to 2 strokes of Luke's and swordsmanship, and then from Marshal Sora's body to Benquan and shaving, only again. Finger Pistol was copied to Master Zephyr's body, and Mumu Fruit's ability was copied to Buleli's body just now. When he thought of this, Ryester's heart suddenly became extremely excited. He thought of various Logia's Devil Fruit abilities, as well as Whitebeard's Shock Fruit abilities. If he could replicate Shock Fruit's abilities, he felt like he was and there is no problem in this world walking sideways. As Paramesh's most powerful Devil Fruit, it possesses the power to destroy the world. Of course, without a certain degree of self-protection strength, Lister will not show the copied Devil Fruit ability to everyone. In that case, only let him face a stronger crisis. 5 elders alone would never allow people like him to exist. The next day, when Wrist was on his way to school, he ran into Blaley and his 2 little brothers. Why, I didn't clean up enough yesterday. I want to clean up again today. Wrist squeezed his fist and squeezed his fingers directly into a quack, quack sound. No, Dad, we honor you in strength. I saw, Brawley said respectfully. Even the 2 followers behind him called Papa List along with Brawley. What are you doing? This battle directly surprised Lister. Dad, we really come to honor you. Brawley remembered that after he went home yesterday, he told his father that he had offended Teacher Zephyr's disciples. Not only did he not get comfort from his father, but he was beaten up by his furious father. If not his mother had been if he stopped by, he might not be able to come to school today. Although his father is Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, he is far away from Admiral, and his father respects Zephyr Admiral very much, because his father was once a soldier under Zephyr Admiral. So his father gave him an order today that he must be forgiven by Lister, otherwise, don't go back to his home. After that, there was this scene that happened this morning. Okay, if you really want to follow me, just call me Big Brother. Although Ryester wanted to be called his father by others, he felt a little embarrassed when he thought of the age of his body now, and if Master Zephyr knew that other people called him father, it would be a lesson. Because this is called the depravity of Marine, according to Zephyr's more authentic character, in this respect, Wrist will never let go. Yes, sir, the 3 said excitedly at the same time, because this meant that List had forgiven them. And to be a follower of Zephyr's disciple is also a great honor for them. Because Blaley's father had told him last night that Zephyr Admiral's eyes were very tricky, and most people simply couldn't get into Zephyr Admiral's eyes, and they had personally experienced Ryester's power last night. They believed, over time, Lister will definitely become Marine's general. Even if there is no way to become Marine Admiral, he must be an Admiral candidate. Okay, go to school quickly, you'll be late for a while. Yes, sir. Sure enough, he is a big brother. With such a strong ability, he still wants to go to school. Big brother, we will definitely not shame you. Brawley thought excitedly in his heart, and Ryester shuddered suddenly. For some reason, he suddenly had a bad premonition. He felt as if he had received a lot of trouble. Sure enough, his bad premonition soon came true. Hey, the students in front, let me go. Don't you know who you are blocking? You block the way of Teacher Zephyr's disciple. If you are acquainted, just get out of the way, otherwise don't blame us. You are welcome. Seeing the three of Brawleys in front of him with dog legs, Ryester is now having a headache. Afterwards, Rist dragged the three people to a corner and punched everyone, boom, 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 on the head. Seeing the three men with dim eyes, Rist did not feel any softness, because if he was soft now, he would definitely be the one who squatted in the corner at night. If such a thing reached Zephyr's ears, he would definitely be unavoidable at night. Fan special training. I will allow you to do this again in the future, have you heard? I heard it, boss. Give me a low profile in the future, don't you know? I see, boss. A 7-year-old child here teaches 3 children 5 or 6 years older than him. This scene seems to be a bit funny, but it is true. Soon, 1 month passed. During this month, Lister's physique could be regarded as an earth-shaking change. In Marine 6 styles, the other 4 styles that Lister did not learn, in this month Ryester has also fully learned, and reached the point of being a Grand Master. It can be said that with Ryester's current strength, there is no problem graduating from Marine School. If possible, Lister is definitely the fastest graduate of Marine Academy. However, when he returned home tonight, Lister found that the lights in the house were black, which meant that there was no one in the house and Master Zephyr was not at home. Fortunately, there is still some stock in the refrigerator, and Ryester simply solved the problem of dinner. I don't know why, Ryester's appetite is getting bigger and bigger now, probably because of his strength. But now it's over 10 o'clock in the evening, and Master Zephyr hasn't returned yet. Even if it is late, he should be home at around 10 o'clock. In this way, Ryester kept training and waiting until after 12 o'clock. Master Zephyr opened the door a little tired. Seeing Ryester, who was still training in the house, Zephyr's expression was obviously taken aback. You haven't rested yet, Lister. Well, Master, what happened today? Why come back so late? The senior management of Naval Headquarters held a conference, so it was a bit late. Although Zephyr has only asked any Marines except Marine Academy to decide, he is still Admiral after all, and he still has some right to know about some Marine matters. What happened? Rist asked with some curiosity, what kind of thing it was that even Zephyr, the semi-retired Admiral, had been summoned. Look at it for yourself. After speaking, Zephyr handed a newspaper to Lister. When Ryester opened the newspaper, he saw a big head of a person, almost occupying the entire page of the newspaper, and under this portrait was written, "One Piece, Gord Roger." Master, is this? There was a bit of shock in Ryester's pupils. When he just crossed, Roger hadn't been named the One Piece King. Unexpectedly, it had already arrived at this time, which meant that it was not far from the Great Pirate Era. As described in the newspaper, Roger successfully reached the end of the Grand Line. Raftel, known as the Ultimate Island, is now respected as the One Piece by the pirates. This is simply a shame for Marine. Quote, Zephyr clenched his fists and said angrily. No wonder. Rist thought in his heart that this was the only thing that could make Marine such a headache. Master, I want to apply for graduation and go to sea. Afterwards, Lister said firmly. The purpose of Lister's doing this was to see if he could meet Roger, because only the Roger pirate group would disband, and after a while, Roger would surrender. And Roger must have a lot of good things that Ryester can copy. Why? When these 3 words were uttered, Zephyr's tone became serious. He didn't want List to leave his asylum so soon. Because I am strong enough to graduate from Marine Academy. In that place, no one can teach me anything except master you, and I also want to see what Roger, known as One Piece, is like. People. Roger, He is a person beyond words. After thinking about it, Zephyr came up with such a sentence to describe Roger. As Marine Admiral, he naturally has a lot of dealings with Roger pirates, so he can also feel that Roger is different from other pirates. Just being able to be friends with Garp is very different, easy. Although Garp looks rather careless and indifferent, he knows what other people are like. Even in Marine, there are few people who can make Garp treat each other sincerely, but he is a pirate. Roger is one of them. Most of Marine's executives know the relationship between Garp and Roger, but they also know that every time Garp pursues Roger, he has no mercy. Otherwise, although Garp is a Marine hero, he probably stayed in naval headquarters for observation. That's why I want to witness with my own eyes what Roger, a person who cannot be described in words, really is. Are you sure? New World is very dangerous. Even me, I am not sure that I can protect you well in New World, and you may not be able to meet the Roger pirates. Zephyr said with a serious face. Now his strength has declined, and his heart is also clear that when he encounters the 3 legendary pirates, he is no longer his opponent at all. I'm sure, even if I didn't meet the Roger pirates, I would like to see the outside world. Although in naval headquarters, I can steadily increase my strength, but outside, I feel that my strength can grow even more, quick. Seeing Ryester's firm eyes, Zephyr's heart was shaken. After more than a month of getting along, Zephyr has already seen that Ryester is a very ambitious person, and also a very thoughtful person, and he can't be treated with the same attitude as a 7-year-old. Because in his opinion, Lister is not a child who is ignorant, but a vigorous young man. Okay, but just forget it after graduating from college. After all, you are their role model, and your presence can inspire those people to work harder. Now that those elite class students know that they are not as good as a 7-year-old child, they really work harder. They can accept being surpassed by a peer, but they absolutely cannot accept being surpassed by a child who is 10 years younger. Exceed. I will arrange for you to board a warship. Whether you can meet the Roger pirates or not depends on your luck. Yes, Master. Lister's eyes suddenly brightened. Okay, go to sleep, I will arrange someone to pick you up tomorrow. Yes, Master. Seeing Ryester's back, Zephyr smiled like an old father, and then took out a phone bug with a serious face and made a call. Hey, Zephyr, it's so late, what can I do with the old man? Although there is no need to go to the ninja school today, the work and rest habits he has developed this month still make him get up early and train alone in the training ground. Wrist, stop for a moment. Master, why are you here? Seeing Zephyr come to the training ground to look at himself, Wrist was still a little surprised. He originally thought Zephyr had gone to Marine Academy. Before you leave, I will teach you the last trick, 6 styles, the 6 King's Spear. With your current mastery of the 6 styles, you should be able to use this trick proficiently. Yes, Master, Wrist said with a bit of excitement. 6 styles, the 6 King's Spear is a very powerful skill, the strongest physical skill of the 6 styles, and the highest meaning that only those who practice 6 styles to ultimate can comprehend. I will only demonstrate it once, you are optimistic about it? Yes, Master. Zephyr clenched his fists together, and then rushed forward. An impact similar to a shock wave erupted directly from between Zephyr's fists, and a semicircular orbit suddenly appeared on the ground in front of Zephyr. Have you learned, Lister? I learned, Master. Good. Zephyr did not ask Lister to demonstrate it again, because he believed Lister, even though he already knew Lister's pervert talent, but every time he saw it with his own eyes, he would feel a deep shock. If you learn it, I can rest assured. At least this trick can allow you to deal with some pirates with a reward of less than 100 million yuan. Just wait here, and someone will come to pick you up. Yes, Master. Afterwards, Zephyr slowly walked out of the gate, but when he was about to walk out, his footsteps suddenly stopped. Don't die, Lister. Hearing Zephyr's somewhat hoarse voice, Ryester's heart trembled. Don't worry, Master, I won't die so easily. Afterwards, Zephyr left without looking back. And not long after Zephyr left, there was a sturdy figure slowly walking towards Zephyr's home, passing by Zephyr. Leave it to you, Garp, Ryester is now the most important family member to me. That's right, it was Garp who came to pick up Ryester this time, or the only person that Zephyr can trust now is Garp. Don't worry, Zephyr, the old man will protect that kid. After all, he is the one I brought back. Well, then I beg you. After that, the two people never talked too much, everything is silent. As comrades in arms who have been fighting together for decades, even if they don't say it, the other party is already very clear. Soon, Garp showed up at Zephyr's home. Seeing Ryester training in the training ground, Garp's expression showed a little shock. He hadn't seen each other for only a month and a half, but Ryester's was no weaker than some schools. Rank officer. As long as even the current Marine generals, there are very few who fully master Marine 6 styles. Boy Lister, here I am. Garp's loud voice directly interrupted Lister's training. He followed the direction of the voice and looked over. Who could not be Garp? Garp Vice Admiral, why are you here? Could it be that I am going to board your warship, Garp Vice Admiral? Lister thought of this suddenly. Well, yes, come with me. Hearing Garp's words, Lister's heart was a little relieved just now. Apart from other things with Garp, at least safety can be guaranteed. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Soon, the two people had arrived on the Garp Vice Admiral warship. Although Garp hadn't put on a dog headgear at this time, his warship had already appeared like a dog head. And Rist also saw several familiar figures, the Marine soldier who had rescued them and the adjutant of Garp Vice Admiral, Bogart. It's been a long time, kid, my strength has grown a lot. Bogart just glanced at Lister, and he had already approximated his strength. After all, this period of time has undergone a period of arduous training, adjutant. Rist said with some confidence that this should be the so-called expansion mentality after strength growth. Very good, let's try again if you have a chance. I mean it too. Last time I lost to Bogart, next time Rist must get this face back. But before there is absolute confidence, Lister will not rashly challenge the other party. But, adjutant, are we going to set sail in such a hurry? Well, the Guy Roger has been called the One Piece, so now the situation in New World is very severe, and all the big pirates have begun to become active frequently, and what we Marine needs to do now is to bring the Roger pirates to the culprit. The culprit will be arrested and brought to justice as soon as possible. It turned out to be so. This is really bad news. Well, kid, is it possible that you are scared? If you are scared, get off the boat now, no one will laugh at you. I'm not afraid, but, Mr. Adjutant, you seem to be the one who is afraid. After all, there is a nervous and serious aura in your body. Really, maybe I'm really scared. After all, every time we set sail, we must be prepared to sacrifice at any time. Hearing this, Rist was silent for a moment. This is the cruelty of this world. Every day, whether it is ordinary people, pirates or Marines, they are facing huge sacrifices. In this world, it can be said that there is no absolutely safe place. But don't worry, little devil, I will protect you. Bogart seemed to have noticed Lister's emotions and said to Lister. Okay, adjutant, but hopefully it's not me who will protect you then. Ha ha ha, you kid is really funny, you want to stand in front of me, you are still early. Bogart's strength is no longer weaker than the General Marine Vice Admiral. As long as it is not for the legendary pirates, he can compete with other pirates. Are you still using a sword, kid? No, then I hope you can practice swordsmanship. After all, if your talent is not to practice swordsmanship, it would be a shame and wasted. Don't worry, adjutant, I also have the purpose of asking you about swordsmanship this time. Then do you want to worship me as a teacher? I have already worshipped Zephyr Admiral as a teacher. If you think you can play Zephyr Admiral, it is not impossible for me to worship you as a teacher. Forget it, I will give you my swordsmanship when I have time. Bogart is not arrogant enough to compete with Zephyr Admiral for his apprentice. By the way, adjutant, where are the pirates who slaughtered our village now? Oh, they have been sent to Impel Down. Why are you asking about this? Nothing, just want to ask. Ryester still vaguely remembered that they were going to become slaves of celestial dragons, but there was one thing that Ryester was very curious about: why the group of pirates would stare at their island, if they just happened to find their little island. Island, that can only be regarded as their bad luck, but if it is intentional, he must ask clearly what is in their island that attracts those children. Boy, just say what you have, don't hold it in your heart, otherwise, no one will help you solve the questions in your heart. Bogart seemed to see Lister's thoughts and patted him directly from behind. I'm fine, adjutant, it's better. Then the adjutant left. He still had a lot of work to do on this warship, and it was impossible to go around List all the time. Now that their warship has sailed out of naval headquarters, the observers on the warship are all vigilantly paying attention to the surrounding environment, while Garp went back to his room after boarding the ship, and did not know what to do. On the other hand, Ryester got acquainted with the soldiers on the warship a little bit, and started his own training. Now he is a little distorted in his heart, and he feels uncomfortable if he doesn't train for a day. Some Marine soldiers were also curiously watching Lister's training. They wanted to see how Lister usually trains, but the more they look at it, the more surprised they are, because Lister's training level has exceeded what they can afford. Now, it can be said that Lister's physical fitness is now stronger than them. This immediately made them as a group of Marines feel ashamed. They have trained for a few years and many have been trained for decades, but now they have been surpassed by a recruit who has been training for more than a month. This is true. It embarrassed them a little bit. 2 peaceful days passed quickly. On the 3rd day, when they arrived at New World, they finally encountered a pirate ship. For their Marine, it is best to return safely every time they go out to sea. They can never encounter pirates without encountering pirates, but dangers often coexist with opportunities. The pirates encountered show that they have no way to improve their military merits. If they can't improve their military merits, it means that they cannot be promoted. If they are not promoted, it means they cannot make a fortune. Not every Marine can enter the Marine Academy, and not every Marine who enters the Marine Academy will be awarded a military rank. Most of them are ordinary people with a little training. In Marine, like the pirates, the survival of the fittest, and those who are not strong enough, can only be eliminated in the end. Garp Vice Admiral, a pirate ship was found in front of him. It is a giant axe pirate group. The captain is a giant axe Mundo with a bounty of 320 million. Hearing the voice of the observer, Garp finally came out of his room. What? It's not the Roger pirates. Seeing the pirate flag in the distance, Garp said a bit disappointed. Since Roger became the One Piece, Garp's desire to meet Roger has become more and more urgent, and he can't wait to chase Roger all over the world now. The pirate ship naturally also found the warship, but instead of running, they slowly moved towards the warship. Captain, a warship was found ahead. Just listen, a crew member of the giant axe pirates yelled. Warship, did it come to us? After all, we just robbed a village. First didn't expect Marine to come so quickly. The second in command of the giant axe pirates, Toby Double Knife Toby, bounty 150 million. What to do, Captain? Let's go over. It's been a long time since I robbed the warship. Let's see if there are any good things on this warship. I saw a very fat figure with a giant axe on his back and said that he was the captain of this pirate group, the giant axe Mundo. Visually, he is 3 meters tall, and the giant axe behind him is also about 3 meters tall. Good. Garp Vice Admiral, the pirate ship approached us. It seems that they are targeting us. Really, now some cats and dogs dare to provoke the old man casually. Bring me the cannonball. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Afterwards, I saw Garp take off Marine's coat, revealing a blue shirt inside, weighing a cannonball in his hand, and then flew over with a swish. Although it did not hit the pirate ship, the explosion caused by the shell directly caused the pirate ship to deflect and tilt. Now Rist understood why there was a wave of shaking when he was in the cage of the pirate ship. Now the answer is obvious. Is it wrong? It seems that I haven't used this trick for a long time, and my hands are a bit rusty. However, in the next second, another cannonball, swish, and threw it over, but just as the cannonball was about to land on the opponent's ship, it struck a flying slash directly from the opponent's pirate ship. The shell was split in half and exploded directly in the air. 2 times, Garp said with a smile. There were cheers on the giant axe pirate ship. Deputy Captain Toby, awesome. It was Toby with the double knife that shot just now. However, unlike the cheers of these ordinary crew members, Toby's expression was a bit solemn. The speed of the shell just now can be said to be very fast, even he almost didn't react. On the warship, I saw Rist walking up to Garp's Vice Admiral with a cannonball. Boy, what are you going to do? Looking at Ryester, who was holding a cannonball next to him, Garp asked curiously. I also want to experience what it feels like to throw a cannonball like Garp. Then, I saw that the shell in Wrist's hand was directly like Garp Vice Admiral's just now, even the posture was exactly the same. The shell flew towards the opponent's pirate ship. The other Marines who saw this scene were shocked. They didn't expect that one day they would be able to see a second person besides Garp Vice Admiral throwing cannonballs. And the speed of Ryester's cannonballs is exactly the same as Garp Vice Admiral's just now. Ha ha ha, funny, you kid is really funny. It's really a pity that you followed Zephyr, otherwise you will follow me in the future. No need, Garp Vice Admiral, a teacher for a day and a father for life. After speaking, List picked up another shell and threw it out. Garp was stunned when he heard Ryester's words. Zephyr, you really met a good seedling. Hope you kid can help Zephyr out of the shadows. Quote. However, boy, the shells should be thrown like this. After that, Garp picked up a shell again in his hand, but this time the shell was thrown out at a speed that was several times faster than before. Almost the shell was shot, and it happened on the pirate ship on the opposite side, exploded. Oh, I see. Wrist noticed the slight change in Garp's force, and adjusted his force method, and then picked up a cannonball and threw it out. Although it was not as fast as Garp, it was also faster than before, many. How about, boy, the power is much stronger than before. The power of a cannonball is almost determined by his speed. The faster the cannonball flies, the more powerful it causes. Wrist nodded, but he didn't make the next attempt. Just now, his muscles were a little uncomfortable. Although he could continue to throw a few more, but after the throw, his right hand would fall into while he was out of power. The pirate ship on the opposite side was about to approach, and it was obviously an inappropriate thing to let himself lose a certain amount of combat power first. However, the two attacks just now caused the people on the pirate ship to suffer. They didn't see how the two shells flew over just now, and exploded directly beside their ship. Now, they are also starting to counterattack, because Garp and the warship they are on is already within the range of their barrels. Several shells flew directly towards their warship. Some exploded in the waters around their warship, and some were solved by Bogart when they were about to fall on their warship. And Garp sometimes took out a shell and threw it at the opponent's shell, and then both shells exploded in midair at the same time. Soon, the two ships are getting closer and closer, but the pirate ship has become dilapidated, and it is estimated that it will be completely silent before long, because with their current ship, it can't bear it. The bad weather in New World. Hey, is it that you Marines attacked us? Are you impatient for riding horses? When the two ships approached, a pirate appeared instantly yelling at Garp, who was standing on top of the warship. The expressions on other Marines who heard this clamor were quite wonderful. They were all holding back their own smiles. Their laugh may be aimed at the ignorance of the pirate group on the opposite side, or it may be at the ignorance of Garp Vice Admiral. Even when Roger saw Garp Vice Admiral, he had to back down by 3 points. Now a little pirate was caught up in his head. If Roger saw this scene, it is estimated that Garp could be laughed at by Roger for a lifetime. Are these pirates so arrogant now? Even Garp Vice Admiral is not afraid. Wrist asked Bogart, maybe you didn't recognize the identity of Garp Vice Admiral. Regarding this, Bogart didn't know how to answer. He could only say one thing, because he rarely encountered such a stupid pirate. Hey, that old guy, Lousy is talking to you, are you dumb on horseback? Seeing Garp silent, the pirate yelled even more. You want the old man to talk, don't you? Although Garp Vice Admiral's tone was relatively plain, Wrist heard the anger suppressed by this plain tone. He is still far from being as free and easy as 20 years later. He is also a passionate person, and his heart is extremely arrogant at this time. When an unknown pirate said so, it is strange that his heart is not angry. When the pirate heard Garp say this, he suddenly shuddered. He didn't know why. It was obviously under the scorching sun, why it suddenly became so cold. Then are you ready to die? After that, Garp jumped straight down, clenched his fists, and punched directly at the center of the opponent's pirate ship. The already fragmented pirate ship was broken instantly by this blow. Become two halves. Sure enough, it's Garp Vice Admiral. Even armament hockey is useless. He destroyed one of the opponent's boats with his own power. Wrist had a clear view of Garp's strike, and did not use any techniques. It was caused by his own powerful strength alone. Oh my god, this monster. Suddenly, the pirate yelled in panic, grabbing everything that can be grabbed now, and avoiding sinking into the sea. The captain of the giant axe pirates, Mundo, the deputy captain Toby, and some other capable cadres all jumped onto the warship. They knew that their pirate ship had been abandoned, and the only way to survive was to take this warship away. As for the ordinary crew members, they have already given up. In New World, there are countless such cannon fodder, and they can form a pirate group again at any time. Little devil, you are so courageous, you dare to take the initiative to board our warship and throw yourself into the net. All the Marines drew their swords to face them, and Bogart also kept Ryester behind him without leaving a trace. Although he knew that Ryester was already very powerful, he hadn't participated yet after all. It has been in actual combat, so in such a battle, it is inevitable that you will encounter some dangers. You old fellow, for destroying our pirate ship, please use your warship to compensate. Mundo, smoking a cigarette, said angrily that it was the first time his home was destroyed by someone else after he went to sea for so long. Oh, Garp Vice Admiral narrowed his eyes when he heard this. All Marines on the warship knew that the pirate was going to suffer. However, at such a close distance, someone recognized Garp Vice Admiral. Ship, Captain, that guy is, Marine hero, Garp Vice Admiral. The pirate who recognized Garp Vice Admiral said tremblingly. Oh, I didn't expect it to be a big fish. If you were to be killed, my status among the pirates would surely soar. Mundo learned of Garp's identity, not only did not panic, but also a little expectant and crazy. Do you want to use the old man's head to improve your status among the pirates? It seems that you are really an inexcusable person. Even what Roger can't do, do you think you can do it? Of course, as long as I kill you, my reputation must not be under that Roger. Ha 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 ha. The frog at the bottom of the well. After that, Garp directly used the shave to come to the opponent's head, and an iron fist hit the opponent's head directly. There was no time for him to react, and Mundo's head was directly embedded in the deck. Captain. Seeing that their captain was killed so easily, the crew members suddenly shouted in horror. They knew that Garp was very strong, but they didn't expect to be so strong. Their captain didn't even insist on the opponent's blow. Come down. Boys, see how powerful the world is. Bogart, they will leave it to you. Quote. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral. Bogart saluted straightly. Are you going to be caught by us obediently, or are you going to fight with all your strength and be killed by us? Bogart only gave them two options, one is to be caught, and the other is to be killed. We surrender, we surrender. I just saw the strength of Garp Vice Admiral. They don't even have the courage to resist. They can still survive if caught, but if they resist, they will really die. But at this moment, Toby, the deputy captain, spotted Ryester standing behind Bogart, and then rolled his eyes and didn't know what was thinking in his mind. Just as Marine was putting handcuffs on these Marines, Toby broke free from the Marine who was controlling him, and then went directly to Rist's side, lifted him up, and then he didn't know where he got the dagger. On Ryester's neck. Seeing this scene, Bogart put his hand on the sword at his waist in an instant. He originally thought that these people had given up on defense, so he relaxed his vigilance a bit, but he didn't expect the other party to play this trick with them. Let him go. Bogart said sharply that Ryester is now being captured by the opponent. This is his dereliction of duty. He has an inescapable responsibility, but the most important thing now is to save Ryester from the opponent's hands. Release all my brothers to me. Hearing this, there was a trace of hesitation in the eyes of the group of Marines. Hurry up, or I'll kill this kid. The nurse pushed the dagger down threateningly, but it didn't pierce it. Let them go. Bogart said that he believed that this group of pirates would not be able to escape in his hands, and now it was just a useless last fight. The pirates who were unhandcuffed took up their weapons one after another and stood behind Thor. Now you can let people go. You dreamed that if I let him go now, then we are going to kill ourselves. Give us a small boat, and when we get to a safe place, we will let him go. Don't go too far. Bogart's tone was already a little cold, and he seemed to be on the verge of an explosion. Hurry up, I don't want to repeat it a second time. Don't worry, Adjutant, trust my strength. Suddenly, Ryester, who was held captive, spoke. Shut up. Okay, I'll give you a boat, but you must protect the safety of the hostages. Don't worry, I'm the most trustworthy pirate. There was a scheming smile on Thor's face, and he wanted to let him let this kid out at that time, but there was no door. Prepare them a lifeboat. Yes, Adjutant. Then, a small boat that was many times less than the warship appeared under the warship, and the pirates all jumped onto the small boat one by one. Can you let him go now? Don't worry, when we can't see your warship, we will naturally release this little guy. When Thor arrived in the lifeboat, he had already let go of Lister, because in their perception, a 7-year-old child was not at their mercy. A good strategy, but you chose the wrong hostage. When Lister was let go, he spoke slowly. What do you mean, kid? Thor looked at the little devil with solemn eyes. At this moment, he didn't know why, he felt a slight threat in the little devil's body. You'll know in a moment, Moonwalk. Suddenly, Wrist showed Moonwalk and jumped into the air. And Bogart, who saw this scene on the warship, also felt relieved. Is this Moonwalk from Marine 6 Styles? Thor was surprised and said that he had also fought against many Marines, including the Master 6 Styles Marine, so he also had a general understanding of Marine 6 Styles, but he did not expect to see it on a child. Moonwalk. Knock him down to me, absolutely can't let him return to the warship, otherwise, we will be all over. Upon hearing Thor's order, the pirates raised their guns in an instant and shot at Lister. Be careful, Lister, Bogart yelled, then drew his sword, used a flying slash, trying to cut the bullets, but there were too many bullets, and they were not in a line, so even he couldn't help Lister all. All the bullets are blocked. Tempest kick. At this time, I only heard Ryester shouting, and then slammed his foot, and a sword energy similar to the sword slashing directly flew out of Ryester's feet. Not only did this help Ryester block other bullets, but at the same time, Tempest Kick's slash also flew towards the opponent's boat, and Ryester now intends to destroy all of the opponent in the sea. Thor made a sound, but the speed in his hand was not at all full. He directly took out the knife in his hand and cut out a sword gas, blocking Ryester's Tempest Kick, and the last two attacks cancelled each other out in midair. Did you block it? But the next attack, I don't know if you can still block it. Bogart originally wanted to come over to help Lister, but when he saw Lister's confident expression, he did not make a move, but his whole body was also in a state of high concentration, and he was preparing to cut his sword. As long as the opponent makes any dangerous actions that can hurt Lister, the sword energy he releases by drawing the sword will instantly split the opponent in half. And Bogart's sword drawing power mainly depends on his own speed. The faster the speed, the stronger the power to save, and the time of accumulation also determines the speed and the range of sword energy. Tempest Kick, mess. I saw that in midair. Wrist quickly waved his legs, and several slashes flew directly from Wrist's feet, and there was no way for Thor to stop the dozens of slashes in front of him. They can only protect themselves from injury, but they cannot protect the safety of their companions. Soon, Ryester's slashing stopped, and all the pirates lay down on the ship except Thor, who was still standing, including the ship under his feet sinking. Unexpectedly, I was folded into the hands of a kid like you. In the midair, Thor had absolutely nothing to do with him. I hope you can be a good person in your next life. 6 Styles, 6 King's Spear. The powerful shock wave directly penetrated the opponent's body, and smashed the boat under the feet, and the opponent was also killed by this blow. In fact, in this battle, Thor fought very frustrated. If he and Lister were fighting on the ground, it really doesn't matter who wins, but Lister used Moonwalk to be in the air and Tempest Kick. The damage to the boat under his feet was his inability to stabilize his figure. Therefore, facing the 6 Styles and 6 King Spears used by Ryester, the opponent has no room to escape. Maybe the only way to survive is to jump into the sea, but jumping into the sea in the Sea of New World can also be said to be a dead end. Good job. Seeing this scene, Marine on the warship cheered at Wrist, and Garp returned to his bedroom with a smile on his mouth. He had been using observation hockey to observe everything outside, so he knew very well that it was outside just now. What happened? However, after using the 6 King Spears, Ryester was a little weak, and fell directly into the air. Not good. Bogart whispered in secret, and then directly used the shave to get under Wrist, and caught him. Wrist, you did a good job this time. Thank you for the adjutant's compliment. Wrist smiled reluctantly, then tilted his head and fainted. In this battle, Ryester used Moonwalk and Tempest Kick several times, and used 6 Styles again, which is the limit for Ryester now. After Bogart returned to the warship, soon, the ship doctor arranged for Ryester, and various nutrition needles were directly pierced on Ryester's body. The adjutant came to Garp Vice Admiral's bedroom. Sorry, Garp Vice Admiral, I was careless this time. Bogart bent over and said in a serious tone that what happened just now was completely his negligence. If he has been vigilant, the group of pirates should now be honest in their warship prison. Now. Well, I don't blame you, no one thought that they would counterattack like that, but what do you think of Rist? Rister's talent is very good. The 6 styles used by Lister just now shows that Lister has given all the 6 styles to the Master Grandmaster. Of course, this does not rule out the possibility of Zephyr Admiral's teaching. Come on, the old fellow Zephyr, although the quality of teaching is good, he can't let a 7-year-old kid add 6 styles to Master's Marine 6 styles in 1 month. So far, Garp's mind still shows the scene of Ryester's first shave for a long time, and he has learned it only by just looking at it. This makes him wonder whether other Marine 6 styles are also Zephyr. After showing it again, Lister learned it, including 6 styles. That guy Lister, maybe in the future will become the person who changes the world. Having said that, Garp's voice is also a little serious. This matter is for the other Marines on the warship to be honest and don't tell it to others. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral, I will tell you to go down. This is also a kind of protection for Lister. If the pirates know that there are such enchanting people in Marine, Lister will definitely become a thorn in the pirates, and maybe there will be pirates who will take action against Lister by any means. Moreover, they need to beware of not only the pirates, but also the world government. If the people in the world government know that Lister has such a talent, even if the pirates are not required to take action, they may have killed Lister secretly. In the cradle. Go, your only task on this warship right now is to protect Lister. You can never let him suffer any damage on this warship, and you have time to teach him swordsmanship by the way. It is undeniable that swordsmanship is one of the most powerful attack methods in the world. Even Garp, a strong man who uses his fists, recognizes that swordsmanship is powerful. Of course, this must be the ultimate in swordsmanship, people. And he believed that Lister was such a person. Yes, Garp Vice Admiral, then I will go down first. When Lister woke up again, it was already the next morning, and it happened to be 4 o'clock in the morning. At this time, most Marines were still asleep and did not wake up, as long as a few awake Marines were on duty. After waking up, Rist didn't bother them, but found a corner with no one to start a day of exercise. Yesterday's battle let Lister know his lack of combat experience, and his physical strength is now his biggest flaw. But a 7-year-old child can have such a strong combat power is already very good, but Lister still does not satisfied, he wants to become stronger. He knows the rules of survival in this pirate world. Only by becoming stronger can he have his own place to survive. I didn't expect you to wake up so early. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang from behind him, and Rist instantly turned around vigilantly and jumped back a big step. When he saw the adjutant, his vigilant expression eased. According to your current body, your physical fitness has reached its limit. No matter what kind of exercise you do, your physical fitness will not be able to break through in a short time. Lister has also noticed this now. His physical fitness has not improved for several days. He used to make a big improvement a day, but now he has stagnated. Only when he gets older, his physical fitness can be improved again. Then what should I do now? My current strength is still too weak. Although I don't know why you are so anxious to improve your strength, let me learn swordsmanship. After speaking, Bogart threw a sword directly into Rist's hands. Swordsmanship mainly exercises technique and artistic conception, and bursts out the greatest damage with the least cost. Good. Rist nodded earnestly. When physique was unable to be promoted, learning swordsmanship might have been his best choice, and, as Bogart said, it would explode to the greatest power with the least cost. Now it seems very suitable for him. And Rist is still secretly training the abilities of the wooden fruits copied from Blaley. Then start exercising now. With your current physical strength, you can swing the sword 1,000 times. I know your talent is very good, but everything must start from the basics. As long as the basic exercises are solid, use when the sword is used, it will have greater power. Yes, Adjutant, I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.